the entire time.
Bind Haven, Bind Haven, Bind Haven.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, variety's the spice of life and all that, but stick to what you're good at, I suppose. And when it comes to the pistol round, we're live, Doug. We're already in the mix. We have a little bit of bathrooms control coming out from NRG, collecting the orbs, a 4-player stack from GENG at the A bomb site. Interesting to see whether or not NRG will be able to scout this out. Excuse me, GENG will be able to scout this out. I just had the teams reversed, Doug. We're already screwing up in the first map in the first round. It's all
Listen,
good,
it's the excitement of the Yoru. I'm telling you, that's all it is. So let's see how things have broken out so far, because oftentimes, Lex, for pistols, they're hot and heavy right off the bat. But the patience that NRG has shown so far is just, I mean, excuse me, GENG, it's impressive.
I want to see whether or not Yoru actually has an impact on pistol. I mean, when we will freak out for sure the moment it happens where we see a Yoru outplay, but meanwhile, GENG regrouping back towards the B bomb site, don't like what they see over our day, and rightfully so. There are still 4 NRG members over here at A. So that's EU over there at the B hallways, immediately scouting out this information. Here's the bomb plant. The rotations will come in. However, on the other side of the map, there is alert coming out from the Omen on GMD, so that will be scouted out immediately by the Yoru from Shanks, but the backhaul L-turn push coming out from GENG is successful, finds one into EU, and now it's a 4-all game. Spike planted.
Genghsta had a chance to get something there. He got one. dapr trades it back out, drops things down to a 3v3. The spike has been down. dapr tapping it early on, understanding that he has a little bit of crossfire. Win gets tagged up so bad. He gets pushed in by the Yoru in the hands of Shanks. He's going to get cleaned up, dropping things down to a 1v1. Shanks already managed to get it to half. It's there. He sneaks the defuse right out of under their noses. NRG take the pistol.
Pros don't fake. He picks up a 4-piece on Yoru and sticks the defuse in a 1v1. Yoru legend? Hello? Shanks? Sorry, a 3-piece within a... Oh, okay, there we go. So 3-piece and a defuse. Regardless, man, that looked really solid from GENG. You know, they were able to push off EU immediately, collected the spike, put it down pretty quickly. You know, they didn't waste too much time, but GENG unable to hold on the post plant. It looked like when they were taking backhaul control, you know, they could have held onto it. But backing up there, you know, they lose 2 players. I was at a loss for words. I didn't see them backing out of it, but they did. And so, you know, NRG leading things right away with a pistol round win. This will be pretty telling of whether or not, you know, they'll be able to get an early lead with this full save coming out from GENG. Just pistols. Get as many kills as they can, and certainly looking for that spike plant, build up their ultimates, and prepare their economy, keep it in check on the side of NRG. And genghsta already finding nice kills onto dapr, win onto Infinite. A bomb site is forfeit, and now it's a 2-on-2, Doug. Spike planted.
Yeah, this has already been a bit more costly than NRG would have liked, as they've dropped a couple of members, and the spike continues to tick away. The problem, too, is a win is certainly worse for Wear. He just has 29 health in a 1v2. He's going to get spotted. Sam gets a nice 2-piece to send him packing and take a 2-0 lead. Now, Lex, we saw in round 1, Guimon, who was playing around in showers over by A, he throws out a couple of smokes. And as soon as those smokes go out to pipes and to heaven, you see the rotations from NRG from the B site through CT spawn, or through the defending spawn, excuse me, to arrive at A, while the hit was on B. The spike was over there the entire time, but this time, when the smokes came out, it was the exact same look, but they fully committed to A. It doesn't pan out anyway, but GENG's already showing something a little different early on.
Yeah, as far as establishing a default goes, you know, on pistol, a lot of teams opt to kind of play it slow, read the map a bit, regroup, hit a site together. And certainly when it comes to, you know, showers control, working the A bomb site, the progression coming out from GENG will probably stay relatively consistent. Fight for showers early on, or at least, you know, give that presence, show that look, and already, you know, getting a little bit of utility out at all from the side of NRG. You know, when you're attacking on bind, it can be really tough if you're going into a bomb site where everybody still has their util. There's raise nades, there's, in this case, Yoru flashes, Omen blinds. You know, if all that is available to the defense, certainly GENG is going to do what they can to get it out of the hands of NRG early on. And so fighting for bathroom control, you know, collecting the orb consistently, that will be part of the challenge. And one of the question marks that we'll be able to, you know, keep an eye on, Doug, is whether or not NRG decides to contest this at all. How will they do it? And I'm anxious to see whether or not Yoru comes into play here. You know, later on when maybe we're on a gun round and
Out of charges.
and GENG is getting a little greedy with the shower control, NRG might play for it. Now that said, you know, falling off from everything we just talked about, there's now long B control. They've kind of shifted back over towards the B side of the map. So GENG balancing things out, keeping NRG honest with the rotations, but EU not biting it is already moving back towards A, and so will the spike. So GENG, after showing presence today, back towards B and back towards A again. They're poised for an A hit now. The Omen smokes. Dark cover does come out. Pipes in heaven, as you mentioned, but Sam rocks steady at short, finds two. Usa trades him out. Now it's a 2-on-4. GENG needs to put the spike down, Doug.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have I don't know that they got it down in time. Yeah, they didn't. The clock ran out. They were just like a nanosecond away from me being able to get the spike down. But the problem about a play style like that, and I know I've talked about it on broadcast before, is when you draw out utility and you wait that long, when something goes sideways, and you only give yourself 15, 20 seconds to execute something on a site, if things go sideways, it's done. And that's exactly what we saw for GENG.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure what the read was. It may have been Shanks, you know, rapidly running away. But that kill from Infinite really is what sealed the deal. I mean, EU was already cheating through defender spawn back towards A. They did have a read. But once the fake is shut down, once you get that kill, you know, okay, this is an A hit. And holding up over at short, that was Sam picking up 2 huge kills with the Spectre. You know, the bonus quickly went the way of NRG at that point. It was just a mop-up for Shanks on that Yoru. We haven't seen any cool Yoru plays yet, but he is leading the charge with his frags, and this one just there. But there's 2 kills on a Michael and win. I know this is just an eco, but you love to see NRG already fighting confidently at these angles, Doug. And certainly you don't want to get too greedy on them, but if all 5 of your players are starting at the defender's side, you're leading, you know, up 4-0 early on in a game, that bodes well for the rest of this half, to say the least.
Yeah, it absolutely does, and especially if you can do so in flawless fashion like that, just a little bit of additional icing on the cake. We talked about Yoru, we saw how excited I was about him. It's been interesting to watch him play. So Shanks, for the last few rounds, has been playing A, and he'll send his gate crash through pipes back to spawn so that he can easily rotate over to B if that's where the hit is. But for the last round, the one we just saw, and the one that we're on the cusp of starting here, it seems like Shanks is much more comfortable, is willing to play on B, right? It's a different look from what we've seen so far.
Well, I think, you know, part of the reason why he'll be more comfortable over with, you know, okay, so take this with a grain of salt, and I'm sure there's actual Yoru mains out there. They're going to be like, oh my God, Lex, you don't know what you're talking about. But I have to imagine the efficiency of his flashes do, you know, long B is just one of those threats. When you have flashes in your comp, this is always going to be scary for GENG. And if you're leaving Shanks over here to default, this is something that, you know, NRG and the defender side, and it looks like they might fight for it right now at long B. They may be looking to push down, get an early pick on the lone member of GENG defaulting over here. And, you know, we'll find out right away. This is immediately what they're doing. They're pushing down, taking the fight to him. And, you know, GENG will react out of this, I imagine. Push up short, maybe, you know, get set up for an A hit. But NRG is certainly a lot more flexible, you know, keeping the Yoru in the composition, being able to teleport to backside of B site if things go awry, right? And even if you're giving that information to GENG, like, hey, we pushed long B early on, like, they can't necessarily get that greedy off of it, right? Like, you have the ability to move across the map very quickly, as you mentioned, and certainly if you're masking the rest of that information, you know, for GENG, it's almost predictable that they're going to shift one back towards A after showing long B here. So already all 5 members are grouped up over here towards the B side of the map. And, you know, you got to think that GENG at this point, they've got the read. It's an accurate one. Only 2 members here from NRG are defending. So EU will get this information here in a moment, but that dart, oof, Doug, just a few feet short of what would have been perhaps round-winning information. And right away, Shanks popping his ult, moving it down short, getting all sorts of information for his team.
Okay, so they set up, and that early push down B long actually got them the Hunter's Fury into the hands of EU. He was 1 point away, got the ult sword, but the problem is right now GENG's in a brutal pinch. Shanks on the flank with the Dimensional Drift was able to get behind them and get the opener. Sam gets in on the action as well as GENG are trapped with no room to grow. There's the showstopper that's coming out at the hands of Sam. He's going to be able to clean one up as well. GENG's just down. the genghsta. The spike is down. He's going to drop as well. Shanks continues to light up the kill feed and to light up the scoreboard for NRG as they're going to take a 5-0 lead.
All right, I know I alluded to a few different, rosters that potentially could have busted out Euro in this event, and I was a little bit of an naysayer in the pregame, talking about I didn't see Yoru having a place in this event, and already, I mean, you compare this to what a Jet offer brings to the table, and I don't want to directly compare, Jet to Yoru. That's not my goal here, but when it comes to Shanks and his impact on the round, I was talking about his Jet off, okay, and a little questionable when you're saying, okay, you're going from that kind of a role into, oh, now you're this like lurk flash character that can get all kinds of information for your team, make cheeky cool plays. Clearly he knows what he's doing because he's been so active throughout these rounds, having a big impact, even if it's just not fragging, right? Like that information on that flank, that threat is going to be there for GENG continuously on their attacking side. That is a nuisance that, I feel like a lot of teams, kind of differing with my own opinion here, kind of playing devil's advocate, so to speak. Like, he may be a new untested agent in a lot of ways, but he's also, a lot of these teams don't have experience playing up against a Yoru that knows what he's doing in a team comp. So this could continue to be, Doug, an incredibly deadly and efficient tool for NRG.
Well, and you see how he set up his decoy footsteps through the telly into towards hookah for the last couple of rounds, and that's forcing GENG to play B long as they have a number of times. They do have that teleporter to bail out. They have no information of what's happening in shower, so if you do that, you're running in there a bit blind. But it looks like they're committing onto the B site yet again. Shanks once again with the opening pick. EU able to force them back, but as quickly as the round starts, it comes to a screeching halt because GENG's just down to the raise once again. It's Sean who's got a sheriff, but he doesn't have any more health to work with. NRG continue to pile it on.
Yeah, just a simple B hit. Nothing really comes of it, unfortunately, for GENG. And I'll say this. We're giving Yoru and specifically Shanks a lot of praise here, and certainly NRG looks like they are, playing very well throughout these rounds. They're very confident in their shots, and that is scary when you're down 6-0 on the attacking side of a map. And frankly, like even the Blade Storm there from Win, shots are just not quite clicking. Things are not quite clicking. Shots aren't hitting, rather, for the side of GENG. And that doesn't mean that they won't throughout, the course of this series or even this map. I won't say wake up, but definitely find their groove. This could absolutely turn around on a dime here and be a 6-6 half in some world. But I gotta give credit where it's due. NRG is looking dominant so far, and they're dominant in a fashion where, like, GENG, they're still making this showers control a little bit. NRG isn't contesting it; they haven't needed to, and they're not exactly telegraphing super hard. It's not as though NRG is doing something incredible over at B for information. We see, a Killjoy and a Sova basically playing retake almost on the bomb site, but the A hit's coming out, and GENG finally lands the entries. There's 3.
There you go.
2 for Win, 1 for Michael, and everything that I just said. There it is. 2-on-5 situation, Doug.
This might be what GENG needs to get back into this thing. Guman in a great spot to grab 2, but Infinite turns on him, gives him the business, and sends him home packing. GENG still with the numbers advantage. However, NRG does have that lockdown to clear space onto the A site, should Infinite choose to do that. But of course, as I say that, Sean cleans him up, drops things down to just EU. He's been tagged up, 70 health, severely outnumbered. He's going to drop as well. Ladies and gents, GENG are on the board.
And that's all it takes, really. I mean, we're talking about teams starting to feel good, get a little bit of momentum behind them, finding their confidence, finding their step. And as an individual, right, if you're hitting tab, down 6-0, like Win would have seen last round, oh, I'm 1-6. I'm bottom fragging as a Jet. Like, what am I doing? Right there. Comes up short, finds his mark, 2 beautiful frags coming out from U-Haul, and suddenly his team's on the board. That is all it takes. One beautiful frag, 1 beautiful kill, and suddenly you're feeling, confident. So for GENG, this is where it starts. And Shanks immediately has the opportunity with an op right now to, okay, all right, Yoru, I see you. That's pretty cute. I like that a lot. But an aggressive op, immediately putting this in a 5v4 would have been devastating for GENG, Doug. And instead, the default, this is a very kind of like timid default now where NRG is kind of forcing their hand towards A.
Yep. See Sean managed to pick up the showstopper there The decoy footsteps working their way down showers. Guimon's about to realize that it was all a ruse. Nobody's actually running their way towards them. They still have a decent setup here. Win getting a big pick early on. There's that showstopper from Sean. Isn't able to blast back the first time, but he manages to get where he wants to go the second time around. The neural theft is going to be used as well to expose where everyone is as Mikhail begins to get the plant down. This one's going to be spicy, folks. A 5v4 as the vast majority of members for both teams are still alive and they're still available to make something happen. Keep an eye on the pinch. You see members of GENG have already started to work their way away from the site down towards A short. And they try to fight things off because they know, there it is. The lockdown comes out to create space. They have to respect that. dapr able to get one. On to win as Guimon and Sean light things up. Sean goes in for more, but Infinite trades him out. A 3v2 in favor of GENG. Now the lockdown goes down. That's going to be the cue to go as Sam begins to stick the defuse. Guimon gets the first one, not able to get it as GENG gets another one on the board.
Wow. And, you know, it feels nice when you're a caster and teams kind of play out exactly what you're talking about. But the fact is, Win walked right up short A, took the gunfight, got the headshot. And, you know, whether or not that's critical to GENG finding success over here at A, you know, bottom line is NRG had 4 members over here, you know, prepared for this A push to come out. And somehow, GENG just brawled their way up onto the site, locked it down in the post plant. 2 rounds, you know, this is absolutely doable for GENG to have a successful half here. They might not tie it up 6-6, Doug, but, you know, I got to imagine that the players are starting to, you know, understand, like, okay, this is where we're going to find some success. I'm finding my step now, and we're going to hit our shots when we need to. Good for them. This is definitely going to be a tough answer for NRG, I think.
Yeah, I agree. They do have the dimensional drift and the from the shadows to get some information, to create some space, and see what they can do. Meanwhile, GENG taking it nice and easy, nice and slow as they mosey their way up B long. They're going to use the drone to clear out some space and get some info. Spots 1. They have that much information, but that's a big ult orb there. That's going to give him the Hunter's Fury.
Yeah, and we'll see whether or not they opt to commit here at B. There is still Cypher lurk over at A, so I got to imagine, okay, immediately from the shadows is sent back. Daps is back in U-Haul now. But with 4 players from GENG, 3 of which, actually all 4 of which are nearby that teleporter, I'd be curious whether or not NRG is going to give them a peek. There's the Hunter's Fury coming out from Michael. He doesn't find anything immediately, only a few tags onto his teammates. And so, as we see Shanks and Sam, I believe, both pushing out of hookah, this play is about to get blown up. Michael falls, and suddenly, GENG's in a world of pain.
Yeah, but look at how aggressively they've taken elbow control. They've worked their way all the way up, so they know there's not going to be any pressure coming in from that side. They are relatively safe from that regard, but you've got to keep an eye on Shanks and the rest of NRG as they try to mosey their way in through hookah. Guimon's going to get tagged up early on. There's that dimensional drift. Shanks is getting all sorts of information on where the players are. Nice crossfire from EU there. That was absolutely huge as GENG falls apart as the round should go in favor of NRG yet again. Oh
no, I really thought we were about to see, and we didn't quite catch it, thankfully. But Kusta was on a 200 IQ lurk into hookah after, you know, the likes of NRG had cleared mid, pushed down towards market, and kind of like retreated back into hookah knowing it was a B play. He almost had a 3-piece in front of him, and I believe it was Infinite was wise to it, turned around, immediately took the gunfight. And Kusta Falls, who, you know, we've seen him kind of have some impact in the early rounds without much success for his team. So, you know, that was a moment right there where we could have seen him shine. Unfortunately for GENG, they're immediately put back down into the losing side of things. However, things aren't quite, you know, adrift too far. There's still 3 rounds left to play in this half. And they have a full buy coming out now. So, you know, you don't have a whole lot to work with when it comes to ultimates. But I think for GENG, right, like you found success towards A, and you're looking, you know, to round out this half with pressure towards B. NRG is not being shy about over-rotating, stacking towards bomb sites, and they're finding early information at least most of the time. So, you know, with a deep trip at showers, with, you know, I believe that's a turret at short, right? Anyway.
No, those are nanoswarms in the alarm.
Okay. I don't know, actually.
Yes, the utilities there.
Fair. The point being is, you know, GENG is not really worried about this. I mean, look at Look at the minimap right now, Doug.
Yeah, look at Shanks.
You have Shanks just immediately getting greedy on the flank. And this is what I'm talking about. If you're getting this information early and you know GENG is not faking, not taking CPs, not doing anything, Shanks is already here.
Oh,
and
the paranoia there. The paranoia there was huge. It hit 5, and then EU and Sam getting on it as well. But GENG shove right into the belly of the beast, and they work their way onto the site. It's just left up to EU in a 1v3. The spike's gonna go down as well. Look, this is difficult, but it's not impossible. If you can isolate these gunfights, there's no Hunter's Fury to possibly cause problems. This is certainly a winnable situation. That's certainly going to help. He's not able to get it. However, Mikhail cleans him up. GENG take the adversity, they take it in the jaw, and they punch right back.
That is 2 caster curses in a row out of me, man. I'm like, the flank's coming in. This is going to be sick. And immediately just gets turned on. Shanks shut down. The site falls so quickly, and the spike gets planted before NRG really even has a chance to respond on the frag sheet. So, you know, GENG found their footing a few rounds ago, Doug. And certainly it's been towards A each and every time. However, you know, I got to imagine that at some point, NRG with their over-rotations, with their greedy pushes, okay, right there, the long B play comes out, and Win is ready this time. Last time we saw that, he was sitting there with a Vandal and didn't opt for the fight, but, you know, you have the operator in hand, may as well hold, see what happens, and there it is, they're rewarded. Shanks falls, and 5v4, great start to the closing rounds of this half.
Take flight. Win, man. Win doesn't get enough love. He really doesn't. As an opper, he's not going to be the one that is constantly lighting up the scoreboard, but he does his job so dang well, and in my opinion, is underappreciated in the professional Valorant scene. Take a look at how GENG are playing this out now. Knowing they have the numbers advantage, they're going to work their way through A. They already have U-Haul control. They don't have any vision. They don't have any knowledge of what's happening over in Shower, so keep a close eye on the 2 members of NRG just around the corner. Infinite's able to get one, hits him with a little sidestep to see if he gets any info, and they continue to work their way onto the site. GENG continuing to take space away. Sean has to come up big here. EU, however, gets that duel. Drops things down to a 3v3 as Infinite continues to push in. He was on the flank the entire time. He catches both of them. He gets a 3K, and they're going to get the defuse. NRG looks so good on this half.
Wow. I can recall myself saying at the beginning of this map, you know, Infinite is one of those guys where he's relatively quiet throughout a game. You don't see a lot of huge impact plays, at least from the observer side of things. You know, it's subtle, whatever impact he does have. Right there, he made a few gutsy calls to push through that dark cover, flank U-Haul, gets the frags on a win, and essentially does the retake all by himself. But, you know, hats off there to the patience, really, of NRG, and then knowing, like, okay, all our pieces are in place, let's just go ahead and push. Infinite wraps around, finds 2 huge kills, and maybe even 3, but the point being, that Showers not being in control of GENG on their attack has, you know, come to bite them in their hind parts more than once now. So I gotta expect there. Okay, right here, they're immediately going towards shower control. Not gonna make the same mistake twice.
Look at Sam pushing up again, understanding where that weakness was. This time pushing into it, and they're drawing out so much utility. Like, you see him, the paint shells have already come out. Roomba came out as well. That's no longer a factor.
Exactly, and we spoke to it earlier on in this half, where the showers control is going to kind of like have the underlying theme of, you know, whether or not they're going to pressure NRG to use utility that they don't have, whether or not GENG can get showers control successfully. They've been denied here. You know, we talk about the utility, that's great, but they still don't have control of it. So at best, on this A hit coming out from GENG, you can only really hope for a GMD lurk, you know, maybe being able to backstab these players that are in showers. But, you know, ultimately, actually, as I say that, NRG thinks they have the read, but here it is, stabs! Omen on Omen crime outside showers, finds the lurk, and the jig is up. And Michael immediately pops Hunter's Fury to clear showers because this is suddenly a big liability, but Win with a Blade Storm, finding one on Assam. 4-on-4 now, he's even things up.
I love how GENG played this. Lex, they cut noise. That was all they did. They cut noise and NRG went over to B, and that's when they strike. That's how they got in this position where they're just on the cusp of getting us to an 8-4 half. It's just one left on the side of NRG. Daps managed to get 3, but Mikhail cleans him up. Welcome back, folks. Just enough time to grab a quick refresher, a little bit of water, and get back into the action, and that's exactly where we start. GENG works their way right up A short. I love that aggression early on. They're able to get 3. Wimon gets the 4th. Dap's the last one standing, but the damage has been done. GENG show that aggression early on, and they put NRG in shambles, Lex.
Doug, what is your favorite pistol and why is it the frenzy? Oh, hold on. Daps with a rebuttal frag, but GMG cleans it up. That was the least tactical pistol round I've ever seen. Ooh. And what a round it was. Just send it up short. Both teams, all 5 frenzies. We're good. We'll figure it out.
It was full send. And you talk about, I'm going to ease us back in from break, and we had a chance to grab a refresher. No, they just blew it up on us.
Madness. Truly. And I know, amongst the pro scene, I kind of have a reputation as somebody who's being loud about my displeasure with some things in this game in the past. No. Sometimes games, take a little bit to flesh out their mechanics and balance, whatever. But the frenzy has been drawing some ire from the pro scene in recent weeks, and I feel like people are getting really good with it. Yeah. And that pistol round was a testament to that, where it can get messy, it can get almost frustrating to watch because there's so much going on. But Shanks, right, immediately finding one with his frenzy. Genghsta, you hold.
1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, like clockwork. Nice. Use the utility from Sean there to get 1. NRG just down to EU. He's going to run for the fences. Lex, I'd love your thoughts on this. As you have a professional background in both Valorant and in Counter-Strike. You're insanely intelligent about the game, and I'm not just saying this to fluff you up. Like, I do genuinely respect you and the way you think about the game.
Thanks,
With the recent nerfs to run and gun, for the rifles in particular, do you feel like that maybe accentuates or maybe adds more oomph to the frenzy in situations like that? Or you could have the same conversation for the Stinger, perhaps.
Oh, for sure. And this isn't necessarily my opinion exclusively. It's something that I think I've seen this sentiment several times, where the rifles, as Riot slowly starts to unify the game mechanics and move towards a system of rules, I guess, for the weaponry in the game that makes sense both for casuals, pro players, and certainly TAC FPS enthusiasts. Like, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to take time to strike that balance. So yeah, I mean, to your point, dialing back the efficacy of your rifles means SMGs are getting an inadvertent buff. It means pistols, especially ones where you're moving when you're shooting, are absolutely going to get an inadvertent buff. And it may not be Riot's intent to be doing that specifically, but as we tinker with the ecosystem of game mechanics and otherwise, that's going to be a consistent, I won't call it an issue, but it's certainly something that as casters we can talk about. And right away we're into the action, already at a 3-on-3 on this bonus for GENG.
Yeah, and I like how GENG tried playing this, knowing that they were on the bonus, they were still bringing SMGs. So you try to, what you do is you try to close the gap there, knowing that the opponent has the rifle, which by and large should give you the advantage. You remove what gives them that advantage, and that's distance, right? So they just full send down B long, try to get up close and personal, but unfortunately they were sitting there waiting for it, and they just got mowed. Yeah, the kills got traded, drops things down to a 3v3, but at this point the spike hasn't made its way anywhere, Lex.
Yeah, and I think, to some degree, you have this Yoru in the comp, and we're going to see what Shanks can do with him in the team sense. But certainly, being willing to make these aggressive lurks, find some openings, and Kusta shuts it down with his Stinger, is maybe something that we're going to see out of Shanks throughout this half. But right here we have NRG, final 2 members coming out of this long B area, and they're actually going to put the spike down without being contested at all. So wisely waiting for the rotations to come in as GENG, and this will be a 3-on-2 retake, Doug.
Yeah, they're trying to clear up, work their way through elbow. EU, the tip of the spear, he's going to spot one, but he's going to get caught. He's going to get smacked in the face, and he's going to get taken out. GENG on the bonus, able to deal with the firepower that NG brought to the gun, to the round, and are going to take another one. That's going to bridge the gap down to 1. Lex, 1 round. Remember what we were at half. GENG have looked like a different beast.
Yeah, and I think, when we're talking about bind specifically and winning the pistol, cleaning up your anti-ecos, that 6-0 scoreline may have looked a little bit weighted, in terms of just how the match was actually going GENG didn't have many opportunities to really, like, you know, I'll say didn't hit their shots maybe, but ultimately we're getting shut down by great play from NRG. So, you know, the momentum has certainly shifted, and we highlighted it a couple times where, you know, seemingly confidence is now flowing through the veins of GENG, and here we are, as you're saying, a slimmer margin than before, and already some B aggression coming out from NRG.
Yeah, they worked their way all the way really into hookah at this point. See a couple of flashes to create some space, and GENG kind of have to respect it a bit. But Sean anchoring things down, able to get one already. They also still have octagon control, so if the push comes up be long, as their posture, they should be able to handle it just fine. Mikhail's able to get two, as members of GENG are still anchored onto the site. NRG's just down to a couple of members left. Now they could have tellied out, but they drop before he even gets a chance. Mikhail with a 3-piece on the round. It's just down to EU. Flawless at the hands of GENG, excuse me, and boy oh boy are they clicking.
Yeah, and for NRG, you know, we were singing the high praises of the Yoru on defense. I think, right, you know, when we're getting into these gun rounds right now, where there is, I won't say an infinite number because that would be a really dumb play on words, but certainly there is an innumerable amount. Certainly from my own personal perspective, I have not seen the limits at which you could push a Yoru in a team setting, right? And so my big question mark and my big, you know, hesitation to say that it's a good idea is I really don't know. Like, can Shanks find a big impact here in the way that, you know, he might on a jet? And certainly I think, you know, right away in this round, forfeiting that showers control towards a jet opera, this is so dangerous. If you're Shanks in this position, he's just wisely passive roll. Spread default from NRG, Doug.
Oh,
and
no.
Almost.
Dude, you called it, right? It was there. Win had a chance, and he probably should have been dead to rights there, but the shot goes just a bit wide. No blood was shed. The round will continue as it started. NRG have stacked the vast majority of the resources all the way up A. The gate crasher is going to work his way up to give them some U-Haul control, but Mikhail with the Hunter's Fury trying to get some. He is able to tag up one as Infinite drops. Numbers advantage in favor of GENG.
Taking that shadow step away instead. Creating frags out in front of showers. Win is just continuing to be this major nuisance in the A push, right? Like,
wow.
Even with daps in heaven, there's just no way to get the spike down decisively without EU shutting him down with a headshot, Doug.
Yeah,
Master's curse again, man.
You're like 0 for 3 there. GENG with the numbers advantage, and it continues to pile on. Sean uses a showstopper to get another one. Sam trades one out, but Mikhail puts all doubt away as GENG, folks, they're going to take a 1-round lead. You talked about confidence. You talked about them feeling themselves, whether the composition from Yoru is enough on the attacking side. Whatever it is, GENG have proven that they're not going anywhere on bind.
Right. And, you know, calling on the caster's first one more time, but Win over there in showers. Okay, right? Like, if you're on the attacking side of NRG, even if it's not an opper, but it was in this instance, so we'll talk about it like this. If he is, you know, in the far corner of showers and you do not have control of short necessarily, and you're trying to come into an A hit, the bottom line is Shanks, you know, with whatever, you know, your utility you have at your disposal, you're going to need to bust it out to push him back and make a play on him, right? But Win, rock steady as ever, just stayed alive for as long as he could, found a kill, and certainly was a thorn in the side of an attacking NRG, and right away, coming up short as Somebody falls to Kusta, Doug.
He doesn't even get a chance to fire it off. They had everything they wanted, but they dropped. They managed to get onto the site anyway, and now it's on GENG to rip it right back. Guimon able to get two, looking for more as they fight to take U-Haul control back. GENG has the numbers advantage here. EU has a chance, but all he has is a Spectre Lex. That's so devastating.
Not a whole lot to be done here. Dad's doing what he can to maybe kind of frag or two, but shut down by Sean. And I gotta ask you, Doug, and this is just, you know, we're sitting up here from the peanut gallery, so chat, take this with a grain of salt. But is that greedy to push all the way to pipes with Showstopper not really knowing what's clear and what's not? And I didn't catch it. There may have been, the dart may have cleared all of back sites successfully. I didn't actually pay attention to the entire execute. I was more focused on the fact that, you know, he was getting shot in the side of the head with a stinger. But man, that's heartbreaking.
It is, and look, this people may disagree with me here, but I firmly believe that if you manage to get U-Haul control, it behooves you to try to get pipes control as well. Because if you manage to get that, you're forcing all of the retake resources in really through showers, right? Because you're not going to be able to get in through spawn to establish having control. There's no room for you to work with there. It takes so much wind out of the retake sales. I strongly, much like Elbow in my opinion over by B site, that's a very important choke point that if the attacking team can control, it just takes so much away from the defender. So I like it. Obviously it's risky because you're getting all the way in there.
Right.
But if you can establish that, you're golden.
Yeah, and I only ask that because I'm just like, you know, sometimes I see players who are able to get that pipes control, as you're saying, and just essentially dominate the round.
Yeah. And
it was just like, oh, we had the spike plant for free, right? Like you have 5 players alive and suddenly you're a man down. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
But regardless of whether or not we're being critical of it, I just was like, I don't know what I'd think in that situation as a player. But here we are. Sam onto Sean, Raze on Raze, 4v4 now.
Oh, so the spike is down, but they had control of A. It got traded back out. As Guman gets one, I honestly miss who got the other kill. But they had hookah control. They had A site control. They didn't commit to either because the spike was back in spawn, and now they're going to have to redo it again.
And NRG is getting really stumped. I mean, there's no other way to put this. They are getting outmaneuvered, I think, on their attacking side here. And even when they're finding some success either over at showers or it's almost like they're moving too quickly, you know, even with whatever fakes they're throwing and whatever they're reacting to, they just aren't all on the same page right now. And despite the heroics of EU and now Sam at U-Haul, this is a 1-on-3.
Love the use of the dart there to work around the Omen smoke to get the information that he needed. Sam had a chance to do something special there, but Kusta, the man you called out at the beginning of the series, gets a hat trick to put the round away for GENG. They're not stopping Lex. They're not.
Yeah, and I really think that, you know, when we're talking about GENG as a roster, take them out of this matchup here for a second. Like, they have an incredible lineup. Like, this 5 is very just, are all talented, all experienced players, and certainly, you know, they've already shown that they can compete at the highest level. So for Kusta, you know, not to beat a dead horse, so to speak, but I can't stress enough how his impact has been, you know, I won't say understated, maybe, because it is, I mean, he's new to this lineup. We've only seen him in one event prior to here, but he's been consistent. He's somebody who I think you can at least at this point count on him to deliver. And now 11-8, GENG up by 3, sitting on a cushion, Doug, moving into this round here.
Keep an eye on the lockdown in the hands of NRG. Infinite could use that to create some space and try to get onto a site. They've got rifles to work with, so they should have a little bit of room to make something happen and stop the bleeding. Lex, it's been 7 rounds in a row here. They've got to get something going.
You wonder what the solution is. They've been patient on their defaults, Doug, and I think they've gotten a decent amount of info and map control, but Yoru comes out.
Yeah, but it's a B hit. It's a B hit the entire way. They send the Yoru ult, the decoys, the drone all the way at A short. But look at where the spike is. They're going to get kills on A, but I love how disciplined Sean is being here. They're just waiting it out. They know where it is. They also have, guarding control. I got caught up there as things were kind of unraveling. So they stayed disciplined. They were able to read them like a book. There's that lockdown, but you wonder, GENG still has the numbers advantage here. They're sitting pretty.
Yeah, and the ace in the hole is certainly Sova and Hookah, rocking the Hunter's Fury in the 3-on-4. You're at a disadvantage, Doug, but you know they still have a really good chance of taking this round. And GENG solid on their retakes up till now. Sean actually gets detained over there at elbow. Oof.
Things you hate to see. Kusta gets one. Daps trades it out. Okay.
Okay, Daps.
Yeah, go on then, man.
Old man still got it. That's a 10-4 dinosaur. 3K coming out from Daps. 11-9, and you know, maybe this is what they were missing in terms of being able to survive throughout their default, get a decent read, and run something together. I mean, the round started with kind of a Shanks. I won't call it a fail, but definitely got outplayed over there at U-Haul, right? So, an interesting look for Yoru on this attack side that we haven't seen until now, obviously, but Gotta wonder whether or not there's any more tricks up his sleeve, because he's been pretty well handled by GENG on his attack side.
I mean, he lit things up. I think it was like 13-2 at one point in the first half, but certainly a much more mild, much more tempered performance here in the closing half of Bind. GENG, again, a 2-round lead. They've got the Hunter Siri. They have the Blade Storm as well. On the side of GENG in a pretty vanilla way to approach the round defensively so far. 2 at B, 2 at A. They're giving up some of that showers control, but they've got the crossfire on it, and they have the Sova close by back by spawn. So I like this setup. We'll just see what NRG can do with it.
Yeah, and wise to it, GENG floating that rotate in defender spawn is definitely going to pay off. And the second you get any kind of hard contact over at B, whether or not it's this drone right now, Win cleans that up, and we'll immediately know, okay, there are multiple players aggressing up along B. The rotation's already here, Doug.
There they are. Right.
Again, keep in mind, they do have the Hunter's Fury, but they've worked their way onto the
30
site.
seconds left.
Sean has a chance for something here on elbow. Once again, when you wait this long, if things go sideways, they're done. Mikhail's going to use that Hunter's Fury to try to tag up, get some information. Not able to get any kills, but did deal some damage. EU still trying to stick the plant.
Spike
It's still a
planted.
5v5, folks. This thing's going to be bloody. Sean holding this angle down, and I love how NRG play this. They get the spike down. You already see a couple of members back off because they have the 100 feet of their own. Well, they had it. EU drops. NRG's able to get one. It gets traded back out. NRG's just down to 3. Sam trying to fire through the smoke, trying to keep back the defenses of GENG as they try to get this site down. Keep a close eye on NRG's members right now. They have what belong control. They have hookah control as well, but they've got to bust
Last player standing.
here.
One enemy
GENG
remaining.
picking them apart. It's just gonna drop things to 1v1. Dabs through the smokes, gets a 3K, and wins the round for NRG.
Okay, that's fun to watch. I mean, that was so back and forth that entire round. A 5v5 post plant never fails to deliver. It's either the most ridiculous round you ever watch, or it's the most intense one. And Daps, another 3-piece, clutching out the round for NRG. He is going huge in this second half for NRG. And you know, just a few rounds ago, you know, we're speaking towards, you know, NRG maybe didn't have answers, maybe wasn't finding the holes that were open from GENG, and now they're exploding it 2 rounds in a row. And, you know, the economic advantage is still there for them, but they have an opportunity now to break the money almost of GENG with a round win. So this is a very important round for both sides, though.
This is indeed, I mean, you kind of, without getting too far ahead of ourselves here, this round has the potential to decide the map in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So we'll see how things pan out. No deep gate crash, nothing fancy coming. Oh, of course, as I say that, you see him use it on the mini-map. He should get all the way back towards A unless it gets caught. It looks like it did get caught there. We'll see whether or not he was willing to take that. It looks like NRG wants to go A short here.
Yeah, and GENG has not fought for shower control very often since they showed the jet over there early. Win has the long B info, but it doesn't matter. NRG is pressing this A attack, Doug.
Sam's gonna go in with the showstopper. Blast comes up, doesn't spot anyone, but he's able to get one. But Genghsta has 4. Lex, as he picks NRG apart. It's just down to Daps. Now, Daps had some heroics, but it's not gonna happen this time around. Ladies and gents, GENG rise from the disastrous first half that was the first 6 rounds and get to match point.
Wow, the man's a gamer. You know, he's 18 and 13. He's got a solid scoreline, but that aside, Genghsta has had some impact rounds in this game, and you know, I sang his praises in the pregame, much to I think chat's chagrin, but frankly, he's a gamer, dude. Like Doug, I really think Genghsta is going to be regarded as one of the better players in NA given time. So for him to step up in that round, like you said, could be the game-deciding round of this match. You know, he delivers. Showstopper immediately down short. Sean finds one on Infinite. And now NRG's chances of winning this game are just getting decimated, Doug.
Yeah, they went from slim to almost none here very quickly. Couple of early picks, couple of early ultimate usage, and that gets them exactly what they want. A narrow miss there from Win, but again, GENG has full control here. They have the numbers advantage. They're pushing NRG around here. They're forcing them to play on GENG's pace.
Yeah, and honestly, this half is broken down for NRG in a few different ways that we'll talk about in a second, but the short push is coming out. They got a 3-on-5 scenario on map point. You know, the spike must be planted here. There's no going back off of this, and immediately Sean finds the first goose to the second. Now it's you in a 1v4, Doug.
I have the spike.
Okay. So he manages to get one. He's got the spike. He doesn't have any armor to work with. Has some utility, but this is a tough spot to be in. See if he takes the telly out and tries to flip the map. But again, there is a member of GENG on the opposite side as well, so it's not like that's safe either.
Defenders win.
All right, real quick, before we cut to break, you mentioned that you wanted to talk a bit more about that half and how things went sideways for NRG. Talk to me, Lex. What do you got?
I wonder whether or not it stems from...
Or something like that, and that happens to be where they're pushing into. It's hard on the defending side.
Right, and some teams approach it a little differently. Sometimes the workflow goes from making contact, and here it is at long A, and then falling back to the links. But Sam with the running frenzy at range finds the opener. And it's just
Gosh, it's another banger of a pistol round. They got the first pick, and then they paranoia. They fully send through a short. EU gets 3 on the round. Holy smokes. That was madness. That was chaos.
That is the frenzy meta, baby, right there. Just, we're going to send 5 guys at your 5 guys, and we're going to... You think they, like, in team chat, Doug, at the beginning of the round, agreed to just, like, yo, let's play today. All right, see you guys there. Bye, frenzies. See you later. Like, that was absolutely... I mean, the last pistol on bind was the same thing, where brain off, frenzy out, let's go, right? Like, let's just send it, and you know what? From a caster's perspective, I don't need to analyze anything here. That was fun to watch. It's just like throwing bodies at the problem, hoping it works.
All right. Oh my gosh. EU just got a bunch of info. He hears the footsteps of everyone freaking stampeding their way down C. They're back off. The spike still hasn't made its way onto A, but EU with the flank able to get one. Win trades it out with the frenzy. No less. But the spike is going to make its way onto A. It should get in there with 0 contest. And folks, the map is flipped. The defending team's back in the attacking side spawn.
Yeah, they're going to need to run an execute here to retake, but as far as GENG goes, like, this is already a little bit of a success, right? You've gotten it was a Phantom or Spectre. Doesn't matter. You've gotten a weapon out of the hands of NRG. It is a Phantom, actually. Okay. So that is, hats off to the observers. But that's I don't want to call it a huge success, but certainly this is weaponry you're taking away from NRG. You're saving it into the next round and giving yourself an opportunity to potentially play for the eco, force up the next one. And, you know, for NRG, that's kind of a big loss as well.
Last player
I mean,
standing.
not just the fact that it's a Phantom, but economically speaking, especially when you're losing 2 weapons here, almost a third actually. So they managed to keep 3 alive. Not a whole lot to feel bad about, but that Phantom loss is certainly a... They did recover it. Never mind. Could have been worse.
Well, yeah, but I think you're right. Like, even losing that Phantom early on, GENG had a chance. But NRG they managed to handle that loss early on just fine as they take the second round away. But now it's on GENG to show us something. I think the interesting thing is, while NRG did lose a couple of rifles, so they're not going to be riding a full bonus, they have rifles to fight back with GENG's firepower here.
Right. And I think this is honestly even scarier on the defender side, or on the attacking side rather, when you have a mixed buy and you know, okay, this isn't really a bonus anymore, but we can't buy in 5 rifles, and it wouldn't be smart to do so anyway. So if you lose here, I mean, as you're saying, Doug, like, this is a real chance for NRG to basically have their economy tanked very early on in this game, and that's what happens when you get greedy on second round buys. I feel like I yell at a ranked teammate every single time I play this game because they're buying Phantoms and Vandals on the second round. And,
well, hang on,
this is why, Doug, right there.
Every ranked teammate knows how to play the game. All right, let's.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I couldn't stick with it. I tried, but I couldn't keep a straight face. NRG have managed to take the spike all the way up A long. They have a couple of members just on the cusp. GENG, again, like we talked about, they kind of have to play retake here. Kusta's going to be up in heaven. They're going to get some information thanks to the dart. But now the members of GENG are starting to rotate. Keep a close eye on the Cypher, on Infinite from NRG. He's on that flank, and that can be devastating if he gets there in time. But he's got to get on his horse, baby. You got to go.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
watched a GENG VOD of them playing on a Haven last night, and I was impressed with Kusta's play at A here. And already he's finding more success. Okay, as I say that, the A site is capitulating, and the post plan is so successful that we're down to a one-on-one, Doug.
Oh.
Man, I just talked through a really sick, I think, 2v4. Like, that was almost a 2v5 wipe instantly. Sam closes it out in the final seconds. 3-0. NRG survives what could have potentially been a disastrous round.
Yeah, it really could have, because, you know, we talked about it. Infinite was on the flank, but his teammate was dropping all over the site, and it was Kusta who was up in heaven, had been there really the entire time and hadn't been contested, and then freaking EU and Sam just pop off and get all the kills that they need to equalize things. It looked dicey, but NRG managed to pull that one off. We talked about the economical implications of that, and so far, GENG doesn't seem to care. Sean with an opener on the Sheriff already.
That's always fun. There are some... I think this is kind of like, as we're talking about, as we were earlier, speaking about weapon balance, whatever. The Sheriff is one of those weapons in this game where, in the right hands, it's terrifying. And Sean opening things up immediately with a hot headshot.
Yeah, it's an 800 credit op in the hands of some folks. But okay, real quick, I want to bring attention to this. Look at how NRG have played this. They get the spike down back C, so there are a few things at play. Number one, they have an open sight line from C long, so they can just spam their way into it regardless of what utility's in front of them. And the Hunter's Fury is there as well to see how it's going to be equalized. Mikhail goes first. It's traded back out by EU as he's trying to fend things off. They managed to get it to halftime. The run it back was used as well. NRG just down to 2 members left, but they're trying to fight back. GENG goes deep, goes all the way in, and they manage to break the hold. They get the site back, and they get the defuse. What a round from GENG!
Wow. And finally, this post-plant scenario where I was singing its praises just a moment ago when Sam clutched out that round, but GENG looked fierce, man. Like, they look really confident coming into these retakes against NRG, and, we're talking about how many rounds are you comfortable with on your attacking side of Haven. Well, they've got their 3 here. But I think you're going to want to, get as many as 7 or 8 here, of course. But I don't know if GENG is going to allow that. Like, that was a very clean retake. They have a little bit of a bank building up. The buy from NRG here isn't great, Doug. And already you run it back into garage here.
All right, remind me, we need to go back to that round to talk about some stuff. But for now, Sam, with the run it back, gets 1. It's already an efficient ultimate. Shanks gets 1 as well with the Blade Storm. Infinite piles it on as GENG is just down to 2 members left. They're on opposite sides of the map. They're going to try to get a pinch in, but NRG again showing proficiency regardless of the weaponry at hand as they get onto C, as they get the spike down, and as they control the site.
Infinite is having one heck of a game here, and man, as I was singing the praises of GENG, once again, NRG reminds me that they are absolutely not out of this series yet, and certainly they don't have any intentions of losing this map, but gotta wonder, that was a very quick reaction. They lost the round, they immediately called this C-split. There was no hesitation. Sam ran up garage doors, popped his ultimate, ran it back through garage, and found the entry. And GENG really wasn't giving it the due respect that it probably deserved, and I don't mean that like, oh, they were challenging the ultimate outright. It wasn't as though that was a free kill that they were trying to hand away. But Sam was able to just get up in that, C bomb side or C spike side immediately. Maybe 20 seconds into the round, they already had a pick. So NRG doing a fabulous job of answering back with confidence of their own.
Yeah, they look good. They're going to have full rifles here. GENG's going to be able to respond in kind. An op in the hands of Win. We've talked about how he's honestly, in my opinion, a bit underappreciated. He's so good with the op. He's so good in Jed, and again, it's because he's an anchor, right? Like, he locks things down. He's able to take away lanes from the attacking side.
Yeah, and I think, when it comes to Jed operators in general, after the latest operator nerfs, there's definitely been a, I'll say to some degree, a lack of dominant op play. Yep. Where, some teams still have that in their lineup with mixed success, and some teams really struggle on some maps with it. But Win, as you said, I mean, he's a fabulous Jet player to begin with. So when he does find his groove, he's just so scary. Right there, immediately taking the head off of Infinite. Operator pick comes in big. GENG poised to retake a 5-on-4 with the spike going down at C.
Spike planted.
That's off a dapr.
Yes, but yes, freaking A, I love that. He gets the opening pick, he pulls off, but he knows exactly where that default spite is. The from the shadows was used to get him onto the backside. Again, they've planted there 3 times now, so he's just able to bang through the box and get another pick with the operator. Win played that so well. NRG's just down to 2 members left.
Yeah, and that was just so well played. You called it, Doug. Man, you set that round up so perfectly for Win to pop off, and there's 3, his third onto Sam. That closes it out. He'll get that spike defused as well. And 4-2, you know, don't forget the spike, guys. But 4-2, this is still a good-looking half from GENG, despite the fact that they may have dropped around that they shouldn't have. Like, this is scary now. You have the operator in the hands of Win, and not only is it in his hands, but he's feeling it, right? Like, that was very well played, as you said. Taking that pick over the top of the smoke, falling back off of the spike site, being able to have the presence of mind to be like, hey, need to wait for my teammates to get here, but while I might as well take a shot through this box, see if I can get the planter, and, well, he did. He's sitting at the top of the scoreboard at 8-3, and Sam, who I you know, at the beginning of that round, I think, spoke as somebody who finding his confidence and is looking scary on this Phoenix. They're going to need to hit, you know, him to continue heating up as this round, sorry, this half progresses.
Onto A. Nice reaction from Sean, able to get 1. But NRG walks away from that trade with the numbers advantage. The neural theft is going to be used as well. Mikhail's the last one on the site. And instead of backing off and waiting for a little bit of help, oh my gosh, well, why do you need help when you're able to get 2? That's going to delay the push at least long enough and remove some of the numbers away to equalize
Spike
things
planted.
as members of GENG arrive on the site.
That was Michael just cranking a 90 into a headshot, just destroying somebody that really thought he had a free kill. I'm not sure who that was, but Michael with a huge shot. Now it's a 2-on-2. GENG poised to retake. Genghsta on the prowl pushes in. It's tagged by a camera, Doug, but Sam curveball comes through the dark cover and almost gets both, but Genghsta survives. 1-on-1 now. Cypher versus Cypher. Yeah, 9 bullets left in the magazine, and Genghsta, you know, neural theft goes out, but Infinite, wise to it, is holding the angle. Ever aware that Genghsta has to push him in that scenario, and certainly there was not enough time for Genghsta to just stick it, so well played by NRG to get their 5th, Doug.
All right, I got to tell you, as a commentator, there are few things I love more than a 1v1 situation like that, where do you tap it? Do you stick it? What's the other guy thinking? As a player, I'm sure it feels terrible because it's a 50-50, right? Like, you're guessing. Did he tap it and did he pull off? Is he sticking it? Do I wait 3.5 seconds and then swing? So many decisions are made in the moment that can honestly go either way. Fortunately there, that went in favor of NRG.
You're absolutely right, but I'll save it for a podcast, Doug. I could talk for hours about what goes through players' heads in those situations and why some players opt to stick. Oh, man. And right there, like, I don't know what Genghsta could have done. That was a really tough spot, like you said, where you either hit your shot against Infinite Man or it's all but done. And Win, who's so aggressive up here at long A, paired up with Michael, that Hunter's Fury through that short A wall, yields great success. 5v4 now, a free one going the way of GENG, costing them just the ultimate of Sova. So, you know, going back to what I'm saying, I think these teams play each other a lot. These players have played each other quite a bit throughout their careers. You get a feel for how players like to play, and you know, in that instance, I got to imagine Infinite was very confident. He had the round already locked up. Right here's, you've seen this before, Doug. They'll run it back at a garage, see whether or not it yields anything against the likes of the defense of GENG.
Oh, it didn't have nearly the same bang that it had the first time around, and it got traded as Sean used his own. Genghsta was still on the back of the site. He gets 1 before dropping. NRG and GENG tied up here at 3-piece. Sam is going to get the spike down. And you imagine, without a Hunter's Fury here, they're not deciding to fully pull off or do anything like that. They want to stay close to the site, force GENG to push into them, and that's exactly what they do. Win gets another one with the op. NRG's just down to Shanks. He's going to get banged through that wall. A 3K for Mikhail. GENG looking good as they get the defuse. They're keeping this thing close, and again, they're doing it on the defensive side.
That was a clean retake, and honestly, we're going back and forth. Like, this is a slugfest at this point, Doug. Like, that round, we've had a few of them like that, but certainly going every frag is getting traded. Every time you're pushing into a bomb site, it seems like there's even numbers. And right there, NRG I think is doing a fair job of maneuvering around Haven, making sure that they're not going into any massive stacks. But right there was two players. I mean, they were basically prepared for NRG to be pushing up onto that site and taking it, and obviously it panned out. Grabbing their third round on defense, where typically I think this map is regarded by, in competition at least, an attacker-sided map, of course. But Win, who you highlighted, man, early on in this game, that threat of his operator, even though this is an eco, like, this is just so annoying to deal with. And infinite falls as well, man.
There's just nothing is safe, right? Like there's nowhere you can go. And what I love about it is we saw him see long, we saw him hold B. Now it is more common as he gets 3. Yeah, give the guy the ace at this point. He's earned it. On an eco, right, for the attacking team, it's more common to play. Ooh.
Cleaned up.
Yeah, that was pretty. So sorry. On an eco, it's common for the attacking team to play B. Right, because it naturally has a lot of entry points. It's a bit of a chaotic spot, and they're a close angle. So you take away some of the advantage that a rifle has over an SMG in a situation like that. So it could be that that's why Win was playing that spot. But regardless, the truth of the matter is he's not just holding down one lane and letting NRG think, all right, we can't go C long because Win is opping there. Let's go A long. Well, surprise, he's there too. He's been reading NRG really well.
Yeah, and that's the ever-present threat of a confident jet opera is, if he's doing his job properly, he's changing his spot up consistently, showing presence at one point on the map, moving so that any utility used against him is useless and wasted. So NRG's answer right now, and I think this is the right one, is to just pick a lane, pick a bomb site, commit 4 or 5 guys there right away, and hope for the best to try and avoid that op. And certainly, already we have a 5-man approach onto the bomb site. GENG is locking it down, though. 4, 5 kills immediately go the way of GENG. NRG gets shut down. Never mind. Forget what I was saying, Doug. Clearly, that was not the answer. But at least they didn't deal with Win's op. Am I right?
Yeah, I guess if there was a silver lining, it was that one, as Win was on the other side of the map. But Lex, yeah, I think you're right, though, right? Like, you've got to hit something. And oftentimes, as we see the meta evolve on this map, that's what you get, is you get a deep spike plant in, and then spam war your way through utilities. So C is often a common spot to hit, but it was that early paranoia from Guimon. Shanks dashed into it too. They were just sitting ducks. I think he hit all 5 of them. There just wasn't a whole lot that NRG could do.
Right. It's this A push immediately. NRG, another 5-man press towards A this time. Said A and C, favorable bomb sites for these kind of 5-man executes, and certainly NRG trading out the first kills. You're gonna get the spike plant, Doug.
All right, and NRG are set up pretty here, right? Again, there's the spike is planted in a place where you can spam through it from A long. That's not where they're playing right now, but keep a close eye on the flank, right? EU's going to use that 103 to try to clear out some space, but the clock continues to tick away. Mikhail using that drone. The blade stream's going to be used as well. Win from the top rope. I think he saw a sliver, just the tiniest sliver, but Lex, they're gonna have to go here. They're running out of time.
I don't know that this is even possible at this point. GMD actually, they have to go huge, and they do. They quite literally do, and I'm not sure if whether. Oh, Doug. We're talking like, yeah, okay, a little over half a second. Like, that was really close, but I don't know whether or not that was hesitation or maybe just unsure where the spike was. You have the feeling, at least just watching it from the observer's POV, like you might have been able to get that one. Regardless, that's 6 for NRG. They've hit that threshold of, hey, a solid attacking half on Haven.
Yeah, and you wonder, I love how NRG played that, right? There was a heavy hit once again. We've oftentimes hear conversations about how this game is so heavily predicated upon confidence, and that, like, confidence is so key to success. So they confidently full send A. They managed to get control of the site. They managed to get control of this site and get the spike down. That was a big round win, but again, GENG with the op, a tale as old as time, once again getting the opening pick onto NRG.
I can't give Win enough credit. Like, he's doing his job, exactly as we kind of teed it up, right? Where if you're able to kind of change your position, get these op picks, and certainly like give a different look every round, NRG has no choice but to burn a bunch of utility just to get, you know, out of spawn. And right now, Win is being pressured by, you know, a Sova dart for sure, but the play is going the other way entirely. It doesn't even matter. Sean finding two beautiful headshots on an infinite Niu. Shanks falls on the other side of the map, and now it's just Daps. 1v4. We've seen him clutch a few times today. Never quite to this degree with so much on the line. Sean finding his third on the round. We haven't even half here, Doug. It's 6s apiece. And,
Switching
you know,
sides.
you were talking about at the beginning of the half, and it really was the storyline throughout that game for me. Sorry, that half.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and this time we're not going to get caught with our proverbial pants down. If there's a spicy pistol round like we saw at the first half of Bind, we're ready for it. We're ready for it. There are lots of frenzies. Lots and lots of frenzies, but no full send. At least this time. We can take a deep, collective breath as we realize.
Excited.
As we realize we're not going to miss anything this time around. GENG look good on the first half. So far, looking good in the second half as well. As they get the opener, it's going to get traded out, however, as they work their way at B. And Lex, I'm going to talk about this a lot. They were one of the pioneers, GENG was, of this play. Right here. It was when Sage was in the meta. It's a different flavor, but it's the same look. You get on B, you get the spike down, you get the heck out, but Infinite with a couple of clean shots with the classic trading things out. GENG just down to 2.
That's just the basic feint. Make presence towards short, draw the A rotator off. GENG does it beautifully, but unfortunately, you know, despite that outmaneuvering with the half of GENG, unable to get it done is Michael at the end there. And NRG just hit their shots, really. I mean, that was a clean retake, and it didn't even see, like, yeah, I hate to just discount everything I just said, but fact is, GENG played that really well to just get the spike down, as you were saying. It's a tried and true strategy on this map, but if you're not hitting your shots, if you're not able to get into post plant, or, you know, the clock starts ticking on the spike, suddenly NRG comes away with that round looking easy.
Right.
Honestly.
No fancy buy-up from GENG this time around, no force, as they're just going to bring in pistols. I may have seen, yeah, one frenzy in the hands of Win. Good curveball there. The frenzy has been eliminated by frenzy on the other side. As Song gets that opening pick. NRG looking good here in the second round.
Spike plant was extremely beneficial to the side of GENG. Any more frags would be great. There's only going to be one. Yeah, just one. Yeah. Shock Dart finds its mark, but otherwise it's a clean anti-eco from NRG. Not a whole lot to dissect here, but I'll tell you what. NRG, you know, during the halftime break, I think you may have said it, I may have said it, I don't know, but
one of us said it.
GENG certainly looks like they are poised to potentially take this series now, and so NRG coming away with pistol, clean second round play, and they're gonna have their econ with no deaths in the prior, sorry, only one death in the prior round. Suddenly okay, we're seeing a Phantom, but a bonus round coming out from NRG. It's a wise choice, I'm sure. Yeah, he's just gonna opt to pick up a Frenzy, Phantom on Som, keep their economy in a good place, and hopefully, you know, cash in on a bonus round here. But the side of GENG, in contrast, see what they can do here on the attack side, because first gun round coming in hot. And already NRG is pushing up with these SMGs up and long, and they find the first one on the window.
Yep. Once again, I know we've talked about it a few times, but you got to keep that in mind. And in eco, you want to play up close, you want to play around smokes, and it often pays off. That's exactly what we saw. But again, GENG, this time not fully sending the spike that way as well, but they do have presence around B. It looks like they're just kind of waiting things out. I love the use of the drone here. Create some space, get some information around garage. We'll see how NRG responds to that.
Yeah, just feeling the map out. The work here at front B is always a fruitful endeavor if patience and time are given enough. You know, and right there, I didn't expect somebody to walk out of the front of this site, but Sean, who is just so deadly, map to map, he's one of the most consistent duelists in my eyes in the game, and here he is delivering again with two. Well, I'd say the first one was a pretty easy head. The second one, a confident fight, finds his third, and he's done nothing but stand here at the front of the B site. And now GENG gets a free spike plant over at A. Actually, and as I say that, Som is creeping in, and he is, I won't call him a minor threat. He's got a Phantom in hand.
Well, that threat certainly
One enemy
just took a serious punch. Sean already has 4. He's looking for the ace. EU with the frenzy spoils the dream, spoils the frags, and takes care of him. But again, NRG they're still in trouble here. EU has the Vandal, and he's healthy here. If he can isolate these gunfights, Lex, he may have something. But I just don't know that there's enough time. Yeah, he's going to start pulling off. He was outnumbered. Yeah. Maybe get an exit along the way, but this round has been lost for NRG.
For sure, and I think, you know, if you're EU, this is the wise choice. Not only was this your bonus where you went into the round with a frenzy, you're getting away with a Vandal, right? Like, you want to live. And if this wasn't their round to win, ultimately. NRG, you know, you hope for the best. You use a bonus round in that capacity where you want to almost, I don't want to call it greed. It's the smart play. But certainly it's a hope, you know, that you're, whatever, they walked out of front B right there. Like, dap's trying to get a little greedy. Like, hey, they don't seem to be in mid. Let me just walk down here, feel it out. And now GENG claiming their first in the half. And, you know, GMD having a little bit of a rough go, but ultimately Sean is really delivering on the Phoenix. Picked up 4 in the last round, almost got the ace. I think GENG is still in a good position here, Doug.
NRG does have that run it back. Doesn't look like there's any early aggressive look as they try to create some space. We'll see if Shanks can get anything going with ops. Spotted just a hair of that cipher. The shot's not going to land. There was some information gathered, but not much else.
Yeah, just slowly feeling out the default, trying to sense aggression. And something that NRG struggled with on their attack half was being able to default successfully while avoiding operator picks. Right. And, you know, they're being very cautious. They're trying to feel out the map, find where the defense is going to be putting their walls up, and Sean, who's already through A link, and finds a beautiful crisp headshot onto daps. Wow, there's the opening, Doug. There it is right there.
They use the run it back, and they use the Hunter's Fury to, and really in that instance, NRG has no choice but to respect it. They back up, and now they're going to try to fight back. Sam's going to use his own run it back, but he gets caught as soon as he swings around the corner. GENG have managed to establish control of the site here. NRG fighting to take back. The nice thing for them is that they have resources on opposite sides. They can push in from A-Link, and they can push in from C-Link. Sam's already able to get one. Shanks with the op. Looking to see if he can pick anyone off. That window, that B window spot can be so devastating if held well. But that's the thing. Infinite's going to get it to half, and then they swing. He has to back off. But NRG still had a chance here again. It's the spam wars. NRG's just down to 1. Infinite with 22 health left. He's just such a brutal spot. GENG take the round.
That human flashbang from Jet. When Ashes in there and it's like, I'll distract him, everybody peek, you know,
Surprise!
Like that looks ridiculous. Okay, it looks absolutely absurd from our POV, but man, like the confidence that your teammates are going to clear that up, you love to see it.
Yeah.
And you pointed this out so smartly, and it's something I didn't even catch when it was happening because I was so into Sean's play. But comboing, you know, the Hunter's Fury with the run it back at B. Okay, right? Like you drone into the front of the site, you make sure nobody's there. It's safe for Sean to ult. You know, this is going to be a clean push into B for them. And certainly as soon as you pop your ults, like, daps has no choice but to be B-hopping over an A-Link trying to avoid it. And certainly well, we know how it ended. But Sean with a very confident attack side so far. This is making me not necessarily worried for the entire side of NRG, but GENG is just coming up with answer after answer. And certainly right here, that A aggression is just shut down. NG coming out clean, 5-on-2 now.
Yeah, and I love how NRG played it. Again, understanding they didn't have the gun advantage. They tried to throw something different, a little spice, right, to try to catch them off guard. But GENG, excuse me, NG, what am I saying? They handled it super well, and they're able to pick NRG apart. They almost expected that aggression out of A.
It's one of those things where I don't know if this necessarily has to do with Shanks himself as a Jet, but not having an operator this deep in the half. I mean, we saw the impact that it had for GENG when Win was able to keep it, and round after round was basically this perpetual threat. But you know, for the side of GENG, when you're running your own attack side, you know, Jet op, you're able to take these kind of long range engagements. He's over here at Long C right away, taking this peek, and you get, you know, indirect map control, and a beautiful pick onto Infinite as I say that. Okay, and this threat is suddenly turned on its head where,
Right.
you know, peeking for information on the side of NRG, as was just demonstrated to us, Doug, is so dangerous. It's so risky, and you don't have those tools that you would hope for, you know, on the side of NRG on defense. But nevertheless, 5-on-4, here it is.
And they're just doing it dry and win with how he's been feeling himself. Like he's going to punish that, and we saw that. They are now. I love what we're seeing here because again, Wynn's just anchoring C long, but the spike still has a full minute. Sam has a chance at something here. That's a big kill. They've gotten the spike down. They know exactly where to go. He's going to swing, but GMD responds as he gets one. EU trades it back out, back and forth as these two teams continue to trade blows. The spike is still down back in the spawn, and NRG smells blood in the water. They've already got two members pushed all the way up, but GENG has a couple of their own waiting on the other side. Wynn just does not miss with that op as he gets onto Shanks. NRG down to two members left. The aggression that was there has kind of hit a bump in the road, right? And they can't really find the way in. Of course, as I say that, EU gets one. KgenGsta trades it out. Last one left is dapr, and he's so, I mean, he's in a different time zone right now from where the rest of the play is. Now GENG are going to work their way up onto B. He's got to get the spike down. dapr has a chance. dapr gets one. Drops things down to 1v1. The spike's going to go down. He's got that paranoid. The swing, it was there. It connected. But the Blade Storm was there. The Blade Storm slices and dices. Wynn gets the clutch. A 3K. It's the op. It's the Blade Storm. It doesn't matter. The result's the same.
Wynn is having quite a game. And, you know, between him, Sean, you know, the whole team really is contributing now. GMD seems to have woken up a bit. Although in that last round, he had a very awkward moment with the EU over at garage doors. But, you know, this is when you have this level of confidence in one of your players, like Wynn, just being able to take these engagements, you know, confidently knowing, okay, there's not an operator on the other side, and I'm going to hit my shot, right? And I touched on this already, but it's so deadly. It gets really frustrating for the other team. You know, in this case, it's NRG on defense, but you feel like you're being slowly constricted into a certain play style, but right away some aggression again coming out from NRG, and Sam actually deals a frag with it.
Yeah, this is far more this is far more fruitful than what we saw last time they tried this. They full sended A, and they got caught. This time, NRG's able to get the opening pick, which is huge. KgenGsta trades it out, but this is already some space that NRG have created. A, unless it's through B, is not an option for GENG.
Ooh. KgenGsta finding 2 kills in this round so far. And the neural theft combined with the misdirection that they've already shown. Look at GENG right now. KgenGsta may have fallen, but you got a 3-on-3 and the C side is for free. So even though the neural theft yielded 2 different players from NRG over at the C side, they're like, okay, guys, we're just going to walk it up. They'll rotate, right? And because in the mind of the defense, you know, you don't want to be where you're actually revealed at, and suddenly you've given a lot of position to GENG, and Wynn finds the first, but Infinite trades it out already, Doug.
Oh, but they're coming in from different sides. It's beautiful from NRG. Shanks gets 2 on the flank. Infinite was a hero that round with the Stinger. He got high impact kills. That was so well played from NRG. They're not going away, Lex.
Sean was ready to rip it. He's like, all right, guys, I'm popping my ult. Like, let's go. Let's do it. And Shanks just says, no, you may not. And that is one of those things where, like, you talk about, you know, confidence and finding a foothold, momentum, whatever. You know, we've highlighted all that stuff throughout, you know, the series. But a big flank coming out from Shanks gets an operator, a gift basically from the other team. You have everything suddenly is going right, and you look at the scoreline, despite the fact that you've slid 4 rounds straight and you're kind of feeling bad about it. Or maybe you're feeling like maybe you're running out of answers, and certainly we've painted, or I've painted that narrative for you at least. But for GENG, that's a pretty big boon coming out, or for NRG, that's a pretty big boon for, you know, defending. Suddenly you have a jet opper that has a free $5,000 weapon, and you know, now GENG back on the flip, back to where almost like a same look as pistol. They make short A presence to draw off an A rotator and are poised to go towards B perhaps.
They've established some B control, some A short control. Stop still there. We saw Sean last time proving that patience is indeed a virtue in this exact same spot. Nothing doing quite yet. Shanks also with that free op that was gifted to him. You know, again, confidence is so key. He can really get something going here, just a pick, 2 picks away from really feeling
That's a big
himself.
kill.
We'll see if he's able to convert that. Yeah, that my gosh, that's a huge kill.
Yeah, NRG has adapted. I mean, I mentioned this is what they did on pistol, right? They've adapted quite well. I mean, the Cypher over at C isn't new, but they're balancing it now to where there's 2 players basically firm defending B, infinite, hanging around garage window and C-link. And what that means is these A
30
players get
seconds
to
left.
stay on these angles and stay on the site, and the B players get to do the same. And right now, this execute is going into 3 members of NRG at least. At the bare minimum, you gotta hit these gunfights immediately and win them. And GMD does find 2, but he's now in a 1-on-2 of his own for the 4K to win. And 10 seconds left, Doug. Not sure who's gonna be able to get the spike down in time, and from the shadows gets shut down by dapr. And I didn't catch those kills coming out from him, but that was a huge round for NRG to kind of dominate this half again. 10-10, all tied up.
Yeah, baby, we're knotted up. That's what I'm talking about. Like, this is peak Valorant. This is why this game's so fun to watch, because you get stuff like that. And Lex, you painted the picture beautifully. They took away, NRG took away what GENG had to work with. They forced them into A, where they had a couple of members already holding those angles, and at that point, it was open season. For GENG, yeah, they got real close. It got down to a really favorable situation, but NRG, they just, it seems like every time GENG is prepared to put the finishing touches on them, to put them away, NRG just digs a little bit deeper. They pull some other miracle out of their hat, or they read GENG like a book, and they keep things close. This has been wonderful from NRG.
Yeah, and as I in the last round, I'm like, NRG's having solid reads, and they've balanced the map so that they can lean towards A and B, kind of give up C. And so GENG immediately keying in on that. All right, we see, behind the spawn walls now, effectively, it looks, to me at least, like a C-split could be coming out in the next round. And so the question will be, it looks like NRG's Sam. Yeah, that's the Phoenix over there in the garage window, so that'd be Sam. Will be the first to kind of make contact with this play, and it'll be up to him to determine whether or not this is a winnable round for NRG. Does he try and hold it steady? Try and go for any fights early? Does he get the info at all? And he is reinforced over here by dapr, so it's not as though he's alone anymore, but certainly looked like it could have been. But GENG coming at the C-split. Already up on the site, and GENG will get in there pretty clean because NRG's playing retake now.
Right, and it's a slightly different flavor of what we saw, and it's not like GENG tried going elsewhere and realized they couldn't, but they had everything set up to where B and A were not an option. They wanted them to go C for that 5v5. Retake Infinite gets a big one. He's going to use that Neural Theft as well to give everything away. GENG does not have any ultimates that can cause problems like the Orbital Strike or the Hunter's Fury from downtown. NRG looking really good on this retake here, but they've got to execute. Shanks once again on the flank with the shorty. He gets one. He's got that operator as well. Win, however. Win, baby! He gets another one. Sean with the Sheriff. NRG looked so good, but GENG take the lead yet again.
A broken buy from GENG yields great success. They capture the operator. They live with, I think, 3 or 4 players, right? It was not as though that was a deadly retake from NRG. We did see the shade coming out from Shanks, which is always fun. But he's been essentially nullified throughout this half as well. And he loses that operator that, we waited so long for it to finally come out. You get one round with it. Yeah, I think he had like a leg shot on someone in that round, and then you lose it immediately afterwards. That's tough. And we're talking about momentum going back and forth. The reads are you can kind of sense some subtle misdirection being thrown out there. And how many times is Win going to find a long C pick? I don't know how good dap's jiggle peek was, but it frankly wasn't good enough. and I wonder whether or not, when they're all in their VOD review looking back at this map, whether or not those deaths are going to come back to cause some nightmares, because that is, frankly, I won't beat up on him, but that's an unacceptable kill right there. We've seen, I think that's 2 or 3, just dry peaks, raw peaks from Win that are yielding frags that otherwise don't need to be given away. And when we're talking about Cypher being put over at C, using his cam to kind of take that peak for them, once you change up your setup in this way, dapr definitely feels the pressure to it's almost like an itch, Doug, where
I gotta look.
You want to peek for the info. I just need to know if they're there. And unfortunately, GENG is now a 5-on-4 with an A hit coming in hot.
Yeah, but NRG should have a lot of info here.
30
They know,
seconds
because of that drone, they know that B isn't where the play is, and you already see all the members funnel over towards A, which is exactly where GENG is. And again, with 20 seconds left, they don't have much of a choice. They're going to have to commit to this one. Guimon gets one, he gets a second one as well. There's the Hunter's Fury coming out of Mikaels as they're trying to clear things out. But Win gets in on the action as well, once again, with the operator. NRG's just down to EU. He's got a measly 7 health to work with, and he's got a gun, so he's going to hightail it the heck out of Dodge, try to bring that bad boy into the next round. Things went sideways for NRG very quickly there.
My ult's not ready.
Indeed. And NRG looking as though they may be on their last legs this half. You know, saving this Phantom will be a benefit for sure in the coming round, but the question of whether or not they're going to have all the pieces in place to somehow scramble together a defense that's successful, where GENG's had so much success in this half. And, you know, I feel like, once again, we're looking at NRG where a lot of the weapons that they should be bringing to the table in every matchup are being nullified or shut down.
Point.
And, you know, I mentioned Shanks' op not really being a factor in this game. That is continuing to be the case. You know, I think Infinite's having a pretty solid side on defense here, but, you know, overall, it seems as though NRG is struggling to find, you know, a consistent weaponry to make these comebacks, these momentum swings more beneficial for them.
Right.
And something that I did see in that last round, sorry to carry on so long, Doug, but
do it, man.
Man, I've seen both Sovas on this team at least twice each, I think. Maybe that was the first time from Michael. Maybe it was the second time. I'm sure Chad will correct me, but that short A ult into A link, I love the idea of it, but I have yet to see a single person even get tagged from that. And it breaks my heart, man. That's all. And immediately the long A aggression shut down. That's Shanks, who's just gotten destroyed on this so many times. GENG's keyed in on it. They know that he likes to do that. NRG gets punished immediately. 5-on-4 now. GENG on match point, essentially.
Yeah, it was interesting. Daps used that from the shadows. He got back towards C, that back corner, and then canceled it out. Could have had a chance to get behind it, but Sam with the stinger there, able to get one. They're going to use that, run it back. So he tries to get some more space, and you see members of GENG just having to back up. Nothing quite gathered yet, and he got some info, but that unfortunately was it. The spike hasn't made its way onto A yet either.
That was awkward. Canceled the reload animation, pulled the stinger back out, realized there's no bullets. Sean finds one on Infinite, 4-on-3, and there's 2 wounded players from GENG. Still doable for NRG, Doug.
It is, and that's certainly, that's certainly going to help. Yeah, Sean drops. You see Win with not much health to work with either, but they're going to get onto the site. They're going to get onto C, and now it's on NRG. You don't want to go through the loser's bracket. You don't want to deal with that gauntlet. You've got to retake C here.
Unfortunately for the side of NRG, there's still not a lot of advantageous weaponry positioning. There's no flank coming in.
One enemy remaining.
This is looking all but wrapped for GENG at this point. You've got Michael and GMD
all Daps
playing this post plant pretty solid, and Daps, who's no stranger to the clutch and has come up big a few times today, he falls now 13-10. GENG taking the series in a decisive 2-0, Doug.
And they look good, right? Like, there were so many things that worked well for them. Lex, I asked you a very interesting question.
They've been claiming are for other teams. Envy, they're here at least to go into the closed qualifiers with all the momentum in the world, and Immortals with a fresh roster. They're already happy, but they can't be complacent. This is their chance. This is the grand finals. It's BO5. It's split. Let's get into it.
Oh, already early on, Envy going for a whole lot of frenzies. I feel like we've seen the frenzy really come to the forefront of the meta, but that does mean we have to sacrifice a little bit of that utility, right? Obviously, already, I think it's FNS having to sacrifice 2 cages. He's gone for 1 cage in 1 trip. So utility is going to be a little bit bare bones with these players on frenzies. Obviously, Caboose, no armor, but he does have the paranoia. So Envy, they sacrifice utility for firepower, but already shot up. Doesn't matter what he's got. A ghost is all he needs, and Crashies is the first blood.
One of the best players in this tournament thus far. Shot up, still looking for more. Of course he is, but has 2 people on the peak. How does he survive there? And he's still going for more. 1 hidden around the corner, and jcstani more or less stealing away the kill from FNS. Mummay trying to get a little bit tricky with it, but now it's just Caboose in a 1v5, and he's not going to be able to get more than 1. So Immortals with a slick pistol round dub.
Great start as well on the defensive side. You want all the momentum you can get. Now, moving forward, they're not going to really have too much contest. Envy, no spike plant. They obviously go for majority frenzies. No, they're going for a full buy, it looks like. Already FNS picking up a stinger. They are going to try and contest this super, super heavily. Immortals, though, this is the time where they're looking to make this into a bonus, right? They can keep as many guns as possible, and they can move forward, and they don't have to worry about their economy. Everything in this game is about economy. It all revolves around how many strong buys you can get. And Immortals, this is where things start early on. Genghsta going to drop a slow orb. No, instead a wall to hold off the main. So they've got control there already, and it can test back towards heaven, but there's that guiding light. jcstani, he's revealed the information, and Envy are going to start to march towards him.
Again, a big spot for jcstani, but even then, Chemicals is going to be on the front line. Shot up. Had so many pixels in front of him, but to his side, a little bit of a flank on, if anything. Still, Chemicals and Genghsta able to get 2 frags. Nothing too crazy. Again, Envy in this round, they're just looking for a whole lot of damage to the economy of Immortals. See if they can take away some of those SMGs and force out a reinvestment. But through the smoke instead, Chemicals, he's going to maintain his hot streak from yesterday and get himself a 3K to stat pad. Immortals going into this round, however, it is their bonus. They're going to maintain the SMGs, but Envy investing a little bit too much into that last round. They still maintain at around that 2K mark, and they have to go for pistols again.
Yeah, unfortunate that Immortals, they only lose 1 player. You're right, this is going to be a complete bonus. It could technically be a double bonus, because then if they can keep 5 players here again, Envy are going to have to force up in the next. And Immortals, they're going to go with whatever they've got saved in this one. In the last round, a little bit rough. Immortals putting a lot of emphasis to kind of control mid, right? This early wall going up, Killjoy utility on that A site, so they can focus elevator, they can focus mailroom, or Envy. They understand this map. This map is all about controlling these rotations, controlling this mid position, and Immortals, they're not scared to back away. However, jcstani, he's gone down very, very early on, and Envy, they gain control here, but there is 1 player shot up to try and hold as an alarm bot goes off.
And again, jcstani was playing more of a pivot in the last 2 rounds. Not exactly surprised that he's going to get lurked on, but even then, wow. Envy, they were waiting to pop out of an elevator, and the 1 player in ramp essentially acting as a flame to a moth in a sense, attracting all of that attention. And Envy now in a 2-man advantage. What is only, again, yet another eco round for them, and they're going to get yet another kill from behind. 2 in a row for Envy. It's slick, it's clean. As now Immortals, they're left now with 2 players, still the SMGs. They rally, but Chemicals, he was about to take on yet another cheeky kill from himself, but even then, Food has full control over the heaven side. Both Chemicals and Nature, the 2 new young guns in a sense, looking to approach. Deep paranoia, but Food, he needed that kill early on, but a wide swing stinger from Nature gets it, but Mummay might have just closed out the round. Nature has to get now a 1v3 with nothing but a stinger. And Envy, I mean, again, off the eco, still building up so much momentum, so much pressure, and their positioning is immaculate. They're going to take round number 3 and leave Immortals in a tricky spot.
Yeah, they're going to be... They were hoping to turn this into a second bonus round, but Envy, they do everything right. They stick together. They make the trade potential. Immortals, I kind of praise them in the pregame for being really good at finding trades, playing kind of back-to-back and ensuring that if 1 player goes down, there's going to be 2 players ready to swing and take the frag back from the same angle or a different angle. This time around, I think because they're putting so much emphasis towards mid, but they also need to have some players watching those extremities, they're kind of split up. Now in this one, Immortals, because the second round was basically a bonus and that third one was as well, they can at least full buy here. And Envy, despite losing that second round force by conversion, because they win that third, they've got a strong buy as well. So early on, it's a full gun round, and we're right back on track in round number 4.
Envy halted, but still very much split, going for, again, early defaults with at least pressure over towards the A side. So you call it a default, but it's a little bit of a long execute because you have these 2 players essentially just trying to drag out as much attention as possible, or either that, a couple of picks. That could open up Envy for an option to a rotation or something of the sorts. But Envy running out of a little bit of time. Oh my, what a setup. You still had the turret up just to try to catch the attention, try to catch that first ping, and Shut Up was there for the trade. But instead, he goes down to Caboose, and Envy has a big opening that, again, gets a whole lot of attention from Immortals. A 3-man stack over towards the A side at the moment with only 1 in heaven. It's none other than Genghsta with a Phantom looking over the cross. Not going to be able to take down Food. Oh man, Stinger v Phantom. It's gonna be the Stinger to win it out. And just like that, Immortals down a man after the kill from jcstani. Envy has control of B. Now it's down to the post plant.
Oh, I think Chemicals at least heard the sound cue. Maybe not Food. This is a huge position. They're not going to expect this whatsoever. The spike down, planted for B main. And you saw how Food control in this mid position can hold on to these rotations, and he's going to hold on to them all sure as hell. Food with 3 in the round. Already the revive charged up. Immortals, they've got nowhere to go. It's just Chemicals, and he's got to save. Nothing you can really do. But again, Food playing a huge part of this round. Slow warp to prevent anyone to swing out mail. Again, Envy, they put an emphasis towards mid. They understand this map. They control these rotations, and they can go back and forth between the sites fluidly whenever they need, whenever they want to. And Immortals got caught completely off guard with that 3-player ace.
Oh. I mean, I call Nature an impact fragger in a sense, but you really have to give that title to Food. Yeah. Yesterday, he caught, if I'm not mistaken, 3 4Ks that, of course, all led into round wins. And not only that, but Envy, they were down people in those rounds. So even then, Food has, I guess you could say, a clutch gene, either that or just a willing to just throw himself out there as a sage of all characters into interactions that he really shouldn't be in. And again, Food has always been a very stellar individual fragger ever since his days in Counter-Strike. And well, you put him on a sage, pure support character, you put him in a tight situation, and he's gonna be able to frag out. And there he goes again. Initial peek and B main from Immortals gets immediately taken down by Food. And now Envy, again, within seconds, they have a man advantage.
Right here, Envy, it's keeping a clean round, but also keeping up as many of these ultis as you can. Charge up as many as possible as well. I think on the Immortal side, at least, a couple of them are nearing completion. I think the lockdown, especially for Nature, could be big. The Empress for shot up. So, Immortals, any kills that they can get, they'll be glad they can get them. They're taking things slow here, Envy. Again, understanding that this is no slouch of a team. Immortals, they don't have much to play with here in Envy. They completely have this site, but 2 players flanking quick into heaven. Crashies, he does have a Vandal, he's got the firepower, and he's going to catch one off guard the second. Chemicals wanted the gun. Crashies was completely aware. There's those Seekers charged up in FNS. We're going to maybe add another tally to the ult.
Indeed he will. Takes down Nature in mid. Crashies already had Seekers. Just like that, it's going to be a flawless one for Envys. And no crazy economic damage coming in from Immortals. No, not even a win off the 1v1s. Not too much damage being done. So if anything, Envy with light util usage actually over towards that site. It's not going to be too much of a reinvestment. But that's not really the thing that we should be focusing on. It's really Immortals that in the early rounds back towards the rifles and the SMGs at least are going a little bit more individualistic in a sense. They're starting to slow down more, which is at least a good adjustment.
Yeah, and this one though, Immortals retake towards this A side. That's why you only see Nature here, because he has that lockdown. He's going to try and play around that shot up again. He does have that Empress. If he needs to, he'll use it to explode. Same thing with a showstopper for us on the side of Envy. Seekers for the retake. Revive available as well. I mean, ultimates all across the board for these sides. And yep, there's that retake set up. Envy will have the site for free, but Nature with this lockdown, does he get hunted down? Yep, Seekers go in. He will be exposed at least to his positioning. And Immortals, they're going to try and regroup together. Again, because Envy have been playing that late lurk towards mid, it kind of keeps in the back of their mind that there could be someone there for Immortals. With a lockdown ready to go, and Envy, how can they hold this one down? They'll be forced out of the site, but Immortals, here they come.
Here we go, and not only that, but a lockdown to make things really chaotic. These players from Envy, they got a back on now, but even then, they're still holding down the site. That's massive for Crashies. Catching up 2, foot on the front lines. It doesn't even matter. Chemicals and jcstani still catching up frags. Everyone left away. And just like that, Envy, instead of just backing out of sight, they see the lockdown. And, I mean, they don't see anything at that point. They just see a round where they can actually frag out towards those back lanes. Mortals feels a little bit too comfortable. They run their ray on, and they have no chance. What a finishing sequence from Crashies and the boys of Envy.
He was the player that I highlighted in the beginning. 50 kills alone against NRG in that 2-map series. And here he goes again. A huge triple. And he just had the Seekers. He's now only 1 charge off of them. So quick and so fast. And not only that, Envy, they held on to the majority of their ults as well. They are looking good moving forward. And Immortals, how do they respond? Gonna be a light pie. Shot up. He's a player that you really need to stand up. And you mentioned Food again. He finds an opening kill. Nature down instantly. Utility gun for the Killjoy. And Immortals, again, It's all about trying to pull some guns out of the hands of Envy. There's not much you can really do with the lesser guns, and already down a man. Envy play this extremely slow, very cautious of these weapons that Immortals hold on to.
And again, folks, with at least SMGs or with a little bit of a plugged up buy, you're going to expect these teams to really stack up a singular sights, just, in a sense, really just pull all of their eggs into one basket and just see if they can just try their luck. But Envy, they choose the right side, they get the information needed, and it's all going to be over towards that B site where the rotation comes in actually strong. Chemicals gets himself too with a little bit of a late nade.
This is winnable.
Finesse takes him back though, and absolutely it is. Genghsta now has a Vandal.
And a revive.
Revive and half armor. This is huge for Genghsta. He's gonna try this one out. In we go, 2v2. It's as even as you can get, but Mummay now down to 12 HP, has the Blade Storm, but can't hit any of it. Still FNS in an off angle, not gonna get paranoid, but instead, he's gonna go away, but Mummay with a shot onto Genghsta. Now it's a 1v2. jcstani, he's gone big before, but he has to go even stronger with nothing but a stinger. It's low HP on these last two players though. They're not even peeking for the right side. They're playing ring around the rosy, and they win the battle. 5-2 for Envy as Immortals. They boot on the Jets, but it's not worth it for them in the end.
That's an explosive play from Chemicals to even put that in a winnable position. Late rotation from Food. He has that, or apologies, not Food, Genghsta. That late rotation, he had that revive available. That became so winnable, but a clean shot from Mummay. That's what you need from him. When he's online with the operator, there's not much you can do to take those one-on-one fights. And Envy, they do barely scrape by in that round, losing 3 players in a position where they should have kept the majority of them alive. But again, Chemicals can always be such a nuisance when it comes to those rounds. And Immortals, with any guns, they can be deadly. But this one, though, it's the full buy for both sides. And Envy, you're taking a little bit more presence towards the extremities, right? You already have crashies grouped up in B main. 2 players posted up here on the A site. And the rest will hang out towards mid. And Immortals, they're not going to try to react. You can see now kind of the concession or the seceding away from this mid position. They're not going to invest too much. And this is the trade style from Immortals. Stick together. 3 grouped up in heaven, prepared to trade one another out. I mean, that's classic Immortals so far.
Oh, classic. And not only that, but they can hold off that heaven position, but a hard retake in B if they absolutely need to. Envy, they get essentially pinched out if they even touch this B position. But Envy, they still gotta hold on back and waiting for the Immortals players to really show any pixels. And indeed they do. Chemicals tiptoes the line in between safety and absolute death, because now Envy, they're still hounding that heaven area. But here we go. So it's exactly what you mentioned. That stack early round is going nuts for them. jcstani in a great position, gonna be able to trade back 2 kills for this team. And now Envy, restricted down to 2, is depending on none other than crashies to make his entry. Shut Up is there with a trade. You said trade heavy, and here we go. 1v2 for Food.
Yeah, Food does have a revive, and we talked about how good he's in these clutches. Well, he can maybe get a kill and get a revive, but 10 seconds left. It's going to be a little bit impossible. Shot Up, good to swing on back, and yeah, again, there's that Immortals trade presence. They have been so good against Sentinels, a team that is extremely well coordinated. Immortals made it look like child's play. They look insane with that trade fragging. Shot Up always leading that line of fire, and then Chemicals right behind. It's classic Immortals once more, and here again is that replay. Perfect trade. Genghsta goes down. jcstani immediately ready for the second frag after that one as well for 3 in the round. I mean, Immortals, that's the style you need to play. Don't play the game of Envy. In the early stages, it felt like, again, they were kind of drawing themselves towards mid, trying to find 1vx's, and this is what they need to do. Stick together and play your own game as Envy. Here's a little bit more heavy presence. Mummay's been good on the op, and he could get an opening pick on a Shot Up who plays on the left side now.
Slow urban heaven, but that's going to be Shot Up in a great position. And oh, the cheeky dismiss. He delays it too, just in case he's able to get that first pick off. But instead now you have the boys of Envy still over towards that back line. Oh, Shot Up sneaking in through the smoke. It's pure timing, but I think he might have made a singular point of noise. Mummay heard him, spread over that communication, and now still Immortals with a man advantage. Chemicals takes back Caboose. Envy, they're still trying out this A site just a little bit more, but look over towards B. It's crashies all in his lonesome. Everyone from Immortals very reactionary. They full rotate, and they expect that this Envy team has at least gotten themselves control of this site,
Oh,
and indeed
chemicals.
they've got it. Yeah, that's going to be the first signal of it. Crashies all the way back in their spawn. They're watching up the cross, and he's actually successful. A little bit of a cheeky shoulder peek, and not only that, but FNS could still probably get the kill. Good adjustment and good rotation, but even then, Chemicals with an absolute Kobe going to be able to get yet another one and make it a fourth as Chemicals sweeps up the round against Envy, and Immortals, they have a little bit of life left in them because of Chemicals and shot up once again.
Yeah, great awareness from Immortals and Chemicals in general to recognize, well, at least from the first kill when he got the player in elevator, it allowed, I think it's Genghsta to make that rotation alongside jcstani. Yep, here on the minimap, you can see it. That kill from Chemicals opens that rotation up towards mid, and then they can double back as a team. You again see Immortals sticking as a pack, keeping that trade potential. That's something that's going to be emphasized, I feel like, throughout this entire game, is that Immortals, it's all about playing as a team, playing as a unit to allow trade potential. And Envy, they get caught unaware about it. In that round, though, it was all Chemical. He pops off again. He's been so good on the op lately, and here he is once more. 5 players or 4 players in B main, and one of them could go down instantly, but Chemicals drops, missing the shot. And now a nade to try and put them back in their places. It is going to be Mummay, tagged very, very low.
It's still interesting though, Envy. Not much control throughout the map. They're really adventuring at this point in terms of what would be singular player up towards that mid side, but wow, okay.
Don't see
The
that every
boom
day.
buddy places it right on top of the wall. It's like he's playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater at this point. Gets a couple of points off of at least a quick grind, and there you go. Quick trick shot, and now we have shot up now with a couple of shots back. And the double
that all the
dismiss
time.
for more information. That is massive. Envy now down to a singular player. JC standing here for the cleanup. And no, you're absolutely right. Shot Up loves to play around with those dismisses, and he does yet another showcase of it in that round.
Yeah, Shot Up, he's always so cheeky with that kind of stuff. When you get a double, I love the way he uses the Reyna utility. I feel like some people always call Reyna a very selfish agent, but Shot Up, he uses every single utility piece to help his team, and there's a perfect example of it. Envy, they will be on an eco here. Last round was very, very rough. I feel just the presence of Chemicals alone can deter an entire team. And Envy, I mean, Chemicals can play both sides. We've seen him on A, we've seen him mid, we've now just seen him on B. So Envy, how do you play against an operator that just can't seem to miss only for a few shots while you get aggressive? Mummay already straight up into heaven. He's got this control, and he's going to be looking to hold on to it now as well. Wall goes up to prevent Chemicals, and Mummay, he's going to keep on pushing. He's got the info. No need to reaggress, but Chemicals, he finds 2 before going down, and Envy, they disperse. 3 players left for both sides, and Immortals, 1 play is all that they needed to get back into this one.
Surely so, but nature, there you go. I was about to say nature needs this one onto Caboose, as the second contact isn't there to trade him out. Immortals, they turn this from a huge disadvantage to actually an advantage in their favor. Now Genghsta, he could be able to sweep up yet another kill from behind. Crashies now in a 1v3, and nature is there for the trade back. There you go. There's the KJ exploding a little bit, as now Immortals, they put themselves in prime position at the end of this half, 6-5.
Huge play from Chemicals. I mean, the confidence to even go for a play like that. Blast pack, you kind of know that you're going to end up going down. I mean, Envy grouped up in there. It's literally perfect. Chemicals has been such an X factor for this Immortals lineup. Him and Shot Up starting to come alive in the early stages in those first 2 rounds, the string of rounds from Envy, those 5 in a row, it wasn't Shot Up, it wasn't Chemicals starting to pull their weight, but here they are now, popping off as usual, and Chemicals running an early fight as Envy, they run their normal default, presence from food into B main. FNS always been a very good lurk towards at A side as a backdoor, but he's grouped up. They're looking for a B hit. No presence left towards A except for that single trip. And what control can they get here? Shot Up, stopped by a smoke, and now stopped by Caboose, is forced to back away. But there are 3 players here, Gus, and Envy, with 1:10 left on the clock, might be looking to actually split back into A heaven instead.
Could definitely happen, because now Immortals, they're actually letting off the gas pedal in that heaven area. So again, just in terms of timing, that would be a great,
the wall.
great optimal time for them. But even then, wall goes down, and you have at least 1 person waiting up, and a little bit of an off angle could catch a rotation back. So we got to pay attention to that interaction. Still with 45 seconds left, Envy, although we were talking about the potential over towards A, and especially with that util setup, could definitely grind them out. They're still aiming down the B sites. We usually see a very heavy pick, but instead it's only going to be jcstani holding it down. He's gonna be able to get one trade back for Caboose. Still one on site. It's Chemicals with a tight angle, and he gets another one back. Still more to pay attention to. That's a slick blast pack, but still not gonna be able to find anything more. Shut up with a big frag. Now it's a 1v3 for food. He's not even gonna go for the plant. Still wants a couple more frags to really make this one worth it. But with the wall going down, shut up just around the corner. So much pressure. Food's gonna go down to Genghsta. Immortals. Massive hold from only 2 players. As Envy on the attacking side, only able to get 5 rounds. Immortals actually have the advantage in a map that they haven't exactly played all too much.
Yeah, again, though, remember, we kind of go back to that stat line of the one map that they have played against Cloud9 Blue. 10-13 loss in Cloud9. They've proven themselves that they are a top team in North America on split. I mean, with Sunny and him playing on 200 ping, they still won every single split map that they played in the Winter Championship. So Immortals, while they haven't played this map as much, they are, again, still a very capable team in Envy. Now on the defensive half, though, this is the favorite side. This is the tried and true for Envy, and they've been always very consistent on the defense. We'll see if maybe things can change up where Immortals start to get a lot more momentum on the attack, but Envy sticking to, again, those 4 classics, or apologies, the 4 frenzies. They love them. They run and gun with them, and Immortals, it's an early default here with Envy, again, playing together, just like Immortals did, looking for those early trades, but a wall up towards mid should at least allow these 2 players in heaven, and now crashies with this rotation to focus here on this B-bomb site.
And again, it's all solo dolo. As it's still that same attention lurk that we like to see from teams, but he's actually not going to commit to it, at least in the hands of Immortals. So instead, now Envy. 4 players already fast on the rotation back, and FNS on the front line still holding things back. Huge from mummay, actually. Popping up from the heaven area, snagging one back, but there's still a whole lot more work to do. Yes, Immortals, they have control of sight, but Envy, I was about to say, they're starting to hound a little bit, but the ram side's a little bit loose. But with the turret up and nature still here to help, well, Immortals now has a huge chance. So much oppression in that ramp area just from one player, and he's just snagged away so much time. Time-wasting strats, still crunching it off. Shot up with the first contact with a little bit of damage. Genghsta needs another one here to really make things count. But now shot up in a 1v2. Could potentially get a heal just from one singular frag. It's actually a fake. Not going to be able to get one, though. Tight angle again. Still playing ring around the rosy, around the... at least around the spike. But crashies gets it back. And with a spike finally being diffused and a smoke up in a really inconspicuous area, Envy, they're going to take the pistol round, the all-important pistol round, as they start to rally up some rounds.
Yeah, huge pickup there for Envy to get the momentum going. Now, do we see a buyback there for Immortals? Envy looked really good on that retake, however. Big paranoia as well from Caboose into the back lines, kind of forcing those 1v1s. Good crossfire held by Immortals, but Envy, they go forward. You talked about nature buying all that time, and even then, Immortals, they couldn't find the optimal positions. They should have been ready for that 3-player push, and now because of their slight faults, they're gonna have to compromise. Only pistols here, no full buy. Sheriff at least for Genghsta. How deadly can he be with it? A one-way smoke set up there by Envy, but canceled by the offensive smoke dropped by Caboose. He has a paranoia ready in the back as well now as Envy. Still dancing around with this idea. Immortals, they haven't much control. So this is a big gamble. You don't know how deep the players on A could be. And FNS up close is a cam to play around. And he's going to get the early info. 4, 5 players get spotted. Page goes up instantly and he's going to sit inside.
Oh. I was about to say ult orb getting taken. He heard that one. He was directly in sight. Could have been baited by it too, but Immortals had a whole lot of trade potential in that area. So still nice and disciplined as Immortals. It almost looks like their one goal there was just to try to take up the ult orb, boot the heck out of there, and Genghsta has control of mid with a kill and elevator. So he's controlling the rotation now from that elevator area. Still a little bit of time could be taken off the clock, still going into spawn as mummay finally takes down Genghsta. But even then, Immortals, they take all of this attention, all of these frags, and they double back again, Sully. They're on this A site, and they're here for an easy plant if they can get it down in time. FNS, what a rotation! Perfectly on time. Mummay, FNS, both with frags. Envy, they're gonna snag a 7th. As again, Immortals winning out 5 rounds in a row. Envy at least getting a little bit of confidence back, like you mentioned, with the momentum. But Immortals with the rifles, they even have a cheeky little ulti this early on in the game. We could see some fireworks from Immortals in this round. Envy, though, they are on their bonus.
Big round for Envy, keeping as many players alive, but it isn't a full bonus. 2 players are going to have to force up here, crashies and
Right.
food. So again, Immortals, they can play around with the way here and then moving into the next. It's going to be a weakened buy from Envy. We'll see what Envy can do about it. Lots of pressure for Immortals into being main and Caboose in the back. He's not playing behind the pallet. Instead, I think he's going to try and dance around and back away into spawn if he needs to, but a lockdown. Didn't even see that one come in. I don't think NVO were either, so they're going to back all the way into the site, but Immortals are playing this waiting game, and Caboose, he still has a paranoia. But paranoias, they go both ways. jcstani affected, and Caboose, he plays around this box. This is massive from Caboose.
No
It's
way.
in the smoke now, he's got to wait. There's one, down goes Nature, spin back for 2, and Caboose finds 3. That's what you want when you're in the back site, and he's put Envy in a 2v2 as Chemicals comes big. They've got the advantage, Immortals.
I mean, Immortal somehow does one better. Massive from Chemicals with a 3K, but now it's FNS, now in a 1v3. Oh, the revival from Genghsta. Okay, things got a little bit trickier. I was about to say the 1v2, very much possible, but 1v3, fresh HP, and power on site, coverage of heaven. They're getting all that information. And speaking of info, FNS, he hears one over in heaven, but with an alarm button in front and Genghsta watching the cross, that's going to be Immortals with an 8th round. Only 2 players going down, so that rebuy is going to be relatively easy, especially if they start to redistribute that economy. But Envy now going into this next one, you mentioned that it wasn't exactly a full bonus, and that's really coming back to bite them in this round. With 2 players down at just about 2K, they really have to be economically sound, as they might just get reset in this round.
Yeah, this is really rough for Envy. Obviously, crashes and food being those 2 with the rifles. They're going to be the ones that have to salvage the pistol and the stinger. And Immortals, they know that. And they realize that there were 2 rifles in that last round, so 2 players forced up. Now they're going to try and play around that. Slow and steady this time from Immortals. Envy, Trailblazer in, does buy a lot of info, and I think it even stunned jcstani in there, so crashies might look to retake. But the guiding light doesn't send it. So he doesn't have all the info, and Immortals will be able to take back B main, but they're trying to figure out the mid Caboose caught off guard. Dynamic duo of Shot Up and Chemicals, they go hand in hand together. They will find too early on as crashes with just a frenzy. A Phantom around the corner, but it is going to be so difficult to hold. There are so many angles and no utility to support them in the middle of B site.
Cover going out.
Indeed, there isn't. Immortals, they're looking to exploit that in a sense, although, again, it's very inadvertent. Again, nothing towards that site, but there's still a little something from crashies with that turret getting placed down right in the middle of the gap. It's a chance for crashies, actually, with the timing to get a couple. Mummay, here we go. 1v3 for the man. He has the op, he has the blade storm. If anything, this is a huge chance for him to get probably that sweet play of the day. Let's see if Immortals really crosses into his crosshairs. Still waiting out for a couple of players to walk on, but these post-plant positions from Immortals, they're not exactly looking to really let go of it. So yeah, Mummay, if he had gotten that first pick at least, definitely he would have gone for it, but with time getting crunched off the clock and Immortals not really getting too aggressive, it's going to be Mummay with a really good save, considering how long-lasting his setup is really going to be.
Yeah, you talk about those post-plant positions, Shot Up underneath heaven. I mean, everybody's watching an angle. Genghsta looking towards spawn, jcstani looking back towards me. I mean, they've got all their extremities covered. If one player goes down in the position that they're holding, for example, if Shot Up were to get taken down by Mummay in heaven, those 2 players, jcstani and Genghsta, can instantly swing. So yeah, no chance there for Mummay no matter what. But Envy, you never know. They always look deadly, and now with a half buy, essentially, they're going to force up a little bit around this operator, mainly just pistols, and they'll see what Mummay can do with it. Again, they have the Blade Storm. They've got a decent set of ultimates. The Seekers can come in very handy. The Neural Theft as well in getting info, and if you want to take the TP Caboose, you can if you want to. Go ahead and stick it, but Immortals grouped up towards this side. Food, he's going to be in for a nasty surprise if he goes and peeks.
Or either that, It's very plentiful for him. It just looks so goofy. Food on top of his own wall, essentially just vibing. They do more or less speak him out. The boom bot doesn't catch anything, but again, a tricky position. It was almost literally a one and done, but he could have just tried his luck and oh my god. Shot up with a glorified Goomba stomp at the end there. So now Envy now, the 3 players remaining. They have ultis, but most likely they're going to carry them over into the next round. Not much to actually fight back with, and oh my. Chemicals and Genghsta still with 2 back in. Mummay, really the more important player to actually get the save up. He's got to run. Immortals, they're still trying to hound over towards that heaven side. Same thing in spawn. And no, Mummy's just going to stick around here. Still with 1 back. That's some exit potential, but there's jcstani. Massive now for Immortals. They've gotten that operator out of the hands of Envy, and depending on their economy in this next round, it's not going to get reinvested. Mummay really has to stretch for it, and indeed he will. With just about 400 credits for utility and 400 more credits really just for light armor, Mummay is going all in on this buy. Same thing with FNS and food. Envy, they're putting themselves in yet another one of those all or nothing situations where they just get reset off of this. This essentially gives Immortals that 12th round if they win.
Yeah, this is so tricky now for Envy. Early wall goes up, but food. He's going to play the contact. As soon as a shot is rung, that's when that wall will go up. But Immortals making moves. I think I missed TP from jcstani. He kind of started a little bit on the mini-map. Oh, Mummy! That's what you want, and there goes up the wall. So mid-control gained. If you're Immortals, at least, it's such a risk to even try and continue to push forward. Food still lingering around, and Mummy's going to take his up elsewhere. He peeks down B main, and FNS playing just around the corner of ramp. It's good control here for Envy. So Immortals, how do you really play around this? Throughout this entire game, again, Immortals playing very good with that trade potential. Here they are again, sticking, grouping up together. Can they retake this mid position? You have Chemicals with his double blast back. That could be the X factor. We saw what he did on the defensive half. Can he do it here again? Because there's only 45 seconds left. And Immortals, they need to get a move on. And it looks like they're going towards the A side where 2 players wait.
It's going to be real tough for Envy, and not only that, but the Seekers, they're going completely over towards the other side, so that's a little bit of early information, but is it exactly optimal? We don't know just yet. Chemicals with a showstopper, not going to be able to catch anything. Instead, now FNS with a really good time to ramp push with a massive 2K. Now, Genghsta goes up on the wall, and we didn't even see the angle, but it doesn't matter. You can just tell that the frag was sick. Food, what a frag back, and Envy with a systematic win on A with actually a little bit of an early ulti. It really just came down to FNS and a whole lot of attention from Envy on the back lane. Immortals had no chance going forward, and now they have to readjust.
Yeah, huge play from Envy as well to kind of pivot around Mummy. Do they continue to do that here? I think that's going to be a key piece in kind of bringing this game back. Immortals, you mentioned that was the round. They win that. They reset Envy. They can get themselves to 12. Now here's early smokes dropped by both sides. One back towards mailroom, so they're going to try and isolate the player in elevator. And one drop by Envy to the top of B main to try and fake some presence. And Immortals, they want this mid control. Trailblazer goes out for some information. Doesn't really spot. You saw a shot up. Slow or a bit slow. Trailblazer down just a little bit. But on the flip side, Mummay holding in a very aggressive angle where he can easily get caught off guard. But thanks to these trips, I think FNS now backing him up. He should be safe and sound. A lot of info here for at least the side of Envy. They've got control towards A with the alarm bots. But how do they play around this? Because they've drawn 2 players here and shot up. He's trying to cause a ruckus, draw these rotations away. And as Envy drop a wall up towards the top of B main, they are buying so much time off of this clock. And Immortals, they don't really have much utility to back them up. This paranoia is going to have to come in so clutch into the back site.
The quick Empress, Immortals, they emerge, and food actually right on top gets a nice angle onto jcstani, but that eye is not going to do anything. Instead, now crashies going to be able to get one back, but still food there to help. Chemicals with a massive one, but still gets traded. Still now a 3-on-3 as Genghsta actually gets the revival, but nature. The timing on that flick is so massive for Immortals. They get the main advantage. He's trying to hold down heaven. Now FNS Gonna be able to get a whole lot of information off the neural theft. Not only that now, but a counter revival potentially, but Genghsta shuts it down. I didn't even realize it. That's more than clutch from Genghsta, as now he only has to face on FNS, low HP, and he gets it. Genghsta probably doesn't know it, but that just saved Immortals this entire game.
They needed that round. It took them a little bit. It took one extra round, but they get it through in the end. Now, Envy, how do they recuperate? Because they, again, are going all into this one. Does Mummay get the up? That's the question. He's been so pivotal. He was pivotal in that round where they ended up picking it up and keeping Immortals off of that potential 12. Do they get him back on it? They don't. It doesn't look like they have the credits to afford to. He's got a 6 adjust a Blade Storm. And now Envy, this is such a big hole they've got to now try and dig themselves out of. And they are going to try and play the aggressive game. They're stacked up right outside of B main, and players are going to try and get aggressive. There is a slow orb at least, so for all they know, there could be players waiting. It's going to get ugly here. Here comes a swing. jcstani not taking the peak full on, so Envy got control, but that is a huge paranoia in nature. Big with 2, jcstani with a 3rd, and that was the gamble they took and the price they paid.
Well, they gotta go down ASAP over onto that B site. Still the rotation coming back quick, but no. Spike will be able to go down, no issues. But Mummay, he's been holding onto this Blade Storm for so long. And this is really the round where you could go massive. There you go. Genghsta playing around, getting a little bit cheeky with the beaks. And he gets them back. Now it's a 2-on-3 with FNS here to help. Still in heaven. No one actually able to peek him out. There's 2 behind that wall, 1 in the back of sight. Mummay, watch out. Probably going to go for an updraft or something of the sort. Still has a dash and everything to work with. He emerges with the right click. It was absolutely needed. FNS tries his hardest as his head is on a swivel, peeking out every angle possible. And now Immortals, with such an explosion in B main and a good hold of the B side post plants, they are now only 1 round away from beating Envy for the first time in this entire tournament.
What a story it would be. Envy, we talked about them being 12-0 in maps. 6 best of 3s, 12 maps for them, 0 lost against them. This is insane, Envy. 1 round away from dropping their first map in the VCT and Immortals. What a story it would be. We knew Split was going to be intense. We knew the potential that Immortals had, but this is unlike anything we could have expected. 4 rounds ahead and a lockdown to try and steal the deal. It's just Caboose in the back. He's been so good in this pivot position, and it's a team flash that almost opened things up. Or apologies, I think it was the guiding light instead from crashies, but still Immortals recuperate. Shana pushing the back line has got 3, and that could be it for Envy.
It's yet another banger of a round from Shot-Up. It's just consistent frags, isn't it? FNS, he's tried his hardest. Multiple rounds in this game where he's had multi-frags. But this one, it's such a tall task. It's almost improbable. It's almost impossible. FNS around the corner going to be able to take down jcstani, and Shut-Up is there. 4 kills for Shut-Up in the round. 13 rounds for Immortals. The once immortal Envy has been taken down by the Immortals. For the first time in this tournament, a map has been taken away.
What a huge, I wouldn't even call it an upset at this point. What a huge statement, though, from Immortals to take down